Welcome back to Only Talk Sports, and tonight we have the ACC SEC Challenge. The Big Ten ACC Challenge and the SEC Big 12 Challenge are no more, and it is the ACC SEC Challenge between the Duke Blue Devils and the Arkansas Razorbacks. You've got the North Carolina Tar Heels and the Tennessee Volunteers duking it out right now, still on ESPN, and North Carolina is up 92-83 with 2 minutes to go in that game. But the Duke-Arkansas game is coming on. It's on ESPN. 3-2 with Duke out in front over the Arkansas Razorbacks. The Razorbacks start of the year ranked in the top 25. They've got a lot of talent, but they have been struggling lately. They're 4-3. They've lost a couple of games that I think a lot of people felt that the Razorbacks could have won. Duke's 5-1 with their only loss at home in Cameron Indoor to the Arizona Wildcats. That was a fantastic game. Arizona went in to the Duke Blue Devils home arena and found a way to win, and that was the first loss that Jon Scheyer has suffered in Cameron Indoor as the Duke head coach. That was very impressive by Arizona, showing maybe that they could be a title contender this year, even though it is so early in the season and a lot can happen. But Arkansas, they need a big win to get themselves back on track, but they just turned the basketball over, and I think they're going to call a foul on the Razorbacks. Trevon Mark, they're showing him the Houston transfer in right now for the Razorbacks. He had a really good pass out in the corner, but you have to have better offense from Arkansas. They're turning the basketball over way too much, and part of it, I think, is a byproduct of just how new this team is. There's a lot of new pieces on this roster. Obviously, a guy like Devo Davis, he's back for the Arkansas Razorbacks, but you just do not have a lot of guys out there that were on this team from last year. Trevon Brazile, he is actually basically a new player as well, because you look at the fact that he was on the team last year, but he got hurt, and now he's coming back basically as a brand new player. So it's going to be interesting to see how all this shakes out for Arkansas. Tremont Mark is definitely going to be a vital piece of the puzzle, but Khalif Battle, the Temple transfer, he is a really solid addition as well. You look at guys like L. Ellis, the Louisville transfer. A lot of these guys are talented, but it's about meshing all this together. They have just not found out a way to do it right now. Will indeed, thanks for being here. Says, hey, Jeffrey, Carolina got to finish. I agree with you, Will. Carolina up by 8. They were up by a whole lot more, but they are starting to struggle a little bit. Only up by 8 points, 2 to go in the game. They should be fine, you would think, but in a bit of trouble. 4-3, Arkansas does take the lead over Duke. Duke down low, Mark Mitchell, and he's fouled going into the lane. That's something Duke does very well, is getting to the foul line. When you've got guys like Mark Mitchell and Kyle Filipowski that are on the taller side and are very physical, and they like to get inside the paint, that's going to help out the Duke Blue Devils with opportunities to try to get to the foul line. Arkansas is going to have to be disciplined and not allow Duke to get easy points at the free throw line, because if they do, it's going to be a long night for the Razorbacks. And Mark Mitchell, he hits the first free throw for Duke, and he is a guy that I think a lot of people are expecting to have a big jump this year for Duke. And he has played pretty well this season. He still has a lot to work on. He has a lot that he needs to improve on, but he is averaging double figures this season, and he did not average that last year. He only averaged, I think, like 7 points per game. He's up to around 12 points per game. So definitely that is a big improvement from him for Jon Scheyer's squad. And he knocks down both free throws. So it's 5-4. Arkansas down 1, but they got the whiteout going on in Bud-Walton Arena. Arkansas is a great fan base in college basketball, especially with Eric Musselman at head coach. He's rejuvenated the school. They're doing better than they have in a long time since the Nolan Richardson days. They really want to win, and this year's having a slow start, but they have the talent to succeed. We'll see if they can get a big top 10 win today on their own floor. In the corner, 4-3, you've got a big shot being knocked down by Trevon Brazile. Big three from him coming off that ACL, and Arkansas is in front, 7-5. He's averaging 10 points and 8 boards. Trevon Brazile is inside Filipowski over to Proctor for 3, and he knocks it down. So it's 8-7. Duke's out in front again. This is going to be a back-and-forth game. If both teams can avoid fouling, I believe that both of these teams are going to be running up and down the floor all night long. Now, how many points are scored is just going to be determined by how many times both of these teams foul, how many times both of these teams turn the ball over. I would think that Arkansas is probably going to turn the ball over more than Duke is, because you look at Arkansas, they got a lot of guys that are very sloppy with the ball. Duke, Being on the road, though, that is tough to try to be able to take care of the basketball when you are in a hostile environment. But they do have really smart players. We'll see how it all shakes out. 16 to go in the first. Inside the lane, Trevon Brazile. His shot's good and one. So it's 9-8. Arkansas up by 1 point. Appreciate you for being here. You got Enemy 25 says, hey, Jerry, what grade in college are you? I'm not basically right now, far into it. It's very early stages, but not very far into it. But I really appreciate you for being here. We've got a really tight game. 9-8, Arkansas out in front. But do appreciate everybody for being here so far. Free throw is up, and Brazile knocks it down. So it is 10-8. Again, appreciate Will for being here. Still Carolina up by 8, Will. So we'll see if the Tar Heels can hold on in Chapel Hill. In Fayetteville, Arkansas, though, the Razorbacks take a 2-point lead over the Duke Blue Devils. 4-3, and the shot is off the mark. Arkansas with the rebound. Now you've got them going down the floor. L. Ellis, the Louisville transfer, driving into the lane over to Trevon Brazile, and his shot's off the mark. Had a great look from three, just couldn't get it to fall. Down the floor, Duke lays it in. What a shot right there by Jeremy Roach, one of the most experienced players on the Duke basketball team. They got a lot of youth, but Jeremy Roach, he's a junior. He's been at the program for a few seasons now, and you can see it when he's out there on the floor with a commanding drive to the rim right there. It's 10-all. 15-10 to go in the first. L. Ellis with the ball at the top of the key. Kicking it inside. Going up for a shot for Arkansas. It's off the mark with a rebound from Devo Davis. Now you got Davenport at the top of the key. Arkansas was still in a tie game, 10-all. L. Ellis splits the double team, and they're going to call a foul on Kyle Filipowski. He does not like the foul call. Will says that he thinks Jeremy Roach is a senior. You could be right about that, Will. He might be a senior. I know he's at least a junior, but he could be a senior. He has been with Duke for a while. A lot of people thought he would go pro a couple years ago, but he just, I guess, didn't do good enough, to really move up the rankings. And the longer you're in college basketball, the harder it is to go pro, because the NBA scouts, they love taking freshmen. They love taking sophomores. But if Jeremy Roach keeps up this high level of play, because he is doing a really good job with the Duke Blue Devils running the team, he could get his shot in the NBA eventually. Stephen Cherry, thanks for being here. Says Holtman has the Buckeyes defending at a high level right now. Crazy, too. I will admit that. It's actually pretty wild how well Ohio State has done at times this year. Ohio State got a big win over the Alabama Crimson Tide in one of those Thanksgiving week tournaments in Feast Week, which was pretty shocking. Ohio State has not been good the last couple years, but it does look like possibly this year could be a resurging year for the Ohio State Buckeyes. In basketball, Will and D says there is history between the Razorbacks and the Blue Devils. They met in the 1994 National Championship game where Corliss Williams and Arkansas beat Grant Hill and Duke. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Nolan Richardson did a fantastic job with that program. I don't think a lot of people would think of Arkansas basketball the way that they do if it wasn't for Nolan Richardson. I mean, it takes that guy, it takes that coach to elevate a program. You talk about guys like Bob Knight. What would Indiana be without him? What would Duke be without Mike Krzyzewski? What would Arkansas be without Nolan Richardson? Now you've got Eric Musselman, and he's rejuvenated the program. Has Arkansas been able to win a national title like Nolan Richardson did? No, but they have been a consistent program. So definitely Arkansas has a great fan base, and they're ready for this game. That's why, to be honest, this was the game I was looking forward to more between whether it was the Tennessee-Carolina game or this game between Arkansas and Duke. It was this one because, I don't know, just Tennessee going on the road at Carolina, I thought it would be hard for them to win. Now, granted, it's been pretty impressive that they've come back, but UNC, for the most part, has been leading by a lot in that game. Whereas this game, you've got a top 10 Duke team that's still young, unless you count Filipowski and Roach's experience, and Mark Mitchell to an extent. They're going on the road in that environment to face an unranked Arkansas Razorbacks team. That's dangerous. Duke is only favoring this game by like 4 points. So the odds makers realized that this was going to be a very tough game for the Duke Blue Devils, and it's looking like that so far. Arkansas, even though they have made a few mistakes, like I said, Arkansas is a very turnover-prone team. They've got talent, and I think that they're going to be scrappy and do everything they try to win this game, everything that they possibly can. I don't know if a win would get them back in the top 25 because they're 4-3, but a win would definitely get their season back on track after some early losses. That is definitely not going to help out their NCAA tournament resume. Will and D says Nolan Richardson is slept on all-time great coach. I agree. I think Nolan Richardson is one of the best that people don't talk about. I mean, obviously, didn't really get to watch him. He was before my time, but I have seen a lot of his teams. 40 minutes of heck is what people called it. His teams played defense. They played scrappy basketball, and they ran the floor. They were some really good teams that he had. Definitely, again, elevated that program. Carolina now up 95-86. Now 96-86 on Tennessee. It's looking like Carolina's going to get a win over the top 10 ranked Tennessee Volunteers. Volunteers did just hit a 3, but still looks like the Tar Heels are going to pull it out. But in the Duke-Arkansas game, we got a lot of time left. 15 minutes to go in the first half. Tie game. Duke Blue Devils playing defense on Arkansas right now. Devo Davis, one of the most experienced players on the Arkansas roster. You talk about guys like Ricky Council that they had last year. They're all gone, but Devo Davis is back. Down low. Now you kick it out to Trevon Brazile. Brazile kicks it over to L. Ellis. 2 on the shot clock, and L. Ellis' shot is off the mark, and it went over the backboard. So it's going to be Duke Blue Devils basketball. That was a poor possession from Arkansas. I understand, outside out of the TV timeout, you got to find a way to get a play going, but there was no screen action, and then you had LL's just chunking up a 3 because nobody was open. Arkansas has to get some better offense. If he made the shot, people would have said it was great, but it was definitely a bad possession. Inside for Duke, and a score right there. What a play by their star freshman, Tyrese Proctor. That's a really good play. Tyrese Proctor's 5 points, and that's a shot that he's going to get all night long. If he just probes into the paint, rises up from around the 10-foot mark, that's a really good play. Inside Arkansas trying to get some offense going, and they miss it in and out. Ryan Young into the game for Duke. For Filipowski, they don't want him picking up a second quick foul. Top of the key, you got Jared McCain for Duke kicking it over to Tyrese Proctor. Proctor with the ball, shooting the 3. Proctor shots off the mark. Arkansas with the rebound. Now you got L. Ellis turning it over, it looked like, but no, they're going to call a foul on the Duke Blue Devils. They're not getting the whistles early. They're calling a lot of fouls on Duke because it is in Bud-Walton Arena. Sometimes you don't get those friendly whistles when you are on the road. We'll see how that impacts the game if Duke continues to get fouls called on. They already have 5 fouls, whereas Arkansas only has 1. But Arkansas very loose with the basketball. This is not a team that prioritizes taking care of the ball. They just throw the ball wherever it goes and see if it sticks, it seems, half the time. L. Ellis with the ball, top of the key, kicks it down low to Makai Mitchell out in the corner to Khalif Battle, and Khalif Battle knocks down the 3-point shot. That's a good play. Finally, Arkansas had some offense going right there. They actually ran. It seemed like a set play, and it worked to perfection. Ron Young down low, and Duke loses the basketball out of bounds. It's off of Mark Mitchell's hands. Mark Mitchell was trying to roll to the basket, and that was some good defense by a shorter Khalif Battle on the defensive end. But on the offensive end, Khalif Battle had a really good play with the 3, and he did a good job on the defensive end as well. So it's 13-12, Arkansas in front. Khalif Battle has 21-plus points in 8 of his last 13 games. That's very impressive. Battle to the rim. Battle misses the layup. He had it but couldn't get it to fall, and they're going to say it's Duke basketball. Khalif Battle's got to make that shot. 9 out of 10 times, he's hitting that shot. Probably 99 out of 100. It was an easy layup, but just could not get it to fall. Kind of hard to fault him, however, because he has had a pretty good start to this game. But that's a layup that he is going to want back. That would have helped Arkansas get up by 3. So it's 13-12. Razorbacks with a 1-point lead. Duke going down the floor. Ron Young over to Jeremy Roach. Jeremy Roach driving into the lane, kicks to Ron Young, and he's fouled down low by Trevon Brazile. That's something that Trevon Brazile is going to have to improve on if he still wants to be an NBA player. He had a lot of talent. He has a lot of talent still, but he does seem a step slower than he used to be after that ACL injury because he was late switching over. And he was always, a work in progress anyway. A lot of people thought that he was a guy that, had springs in his legs, that he could be able to rise up and blow the top off of defense with monster jams, but his defense was a work in progress. Made a mistake on that play, switched over too late, and I think they gave the foul to Makai Mitchell, and now that's his second foul, but Makai Mitchell probably wouldn't have fouled there if you would have had Trevon Brazile rotate over just a little bit sooner. Now Jalen Graham's into the game, the Arizona State transfer. That's something Arkansas has a lot of. They got front court depth. They have a lot of front court depth Eric Musselman wanted to load up his team in the transfer portal, and he did a good job of that. But again, they've got so many transfers. How is it going to all mesh together? We'll see. Ron Young, he misses the second free throw. He did it the first free throw, but he missed the second. So it's 13-13. Arkansas with the basketball going down the floor. Now you got L. Ellis top of the key being guarded heavily by a Duke player. That's Jalen Blakes. He's another guy people talk about for Duke that they're wanting to see improvement from. Down low, Khalif Battle going up wildly for the shot. He can't get it to fall. Khalif Battle, that's one thing about Khalif Battle that is tough when watching him play, because he sometimes has some great plays, but he can get a bit out of control. And it just kind of seems like Arkansas has a lot of players that do that. Whether you're looking at a guy like L. Ellis or a guy like Khalif Battle, they were very turnover prone at their previous schools. They have to find a way to settle down and make the most of their possessions, not turn it over, take care of the basketball, and make better passes. Leighton Blocker's into the game for Arkansas. He's a freshman from Little Rock, averaging 10 points per game in his last 2 games. That's another player to watch, especially with Tremont Mark being banged up for the Razorbacks. Down low, Jalen Graham on the block with Ron Young on. Jalen Graham can win this one-on-one battle. Graham going up, and he forces it too much, and he misses the shot. We're still tied up all at 13. 11:50 to go in the first. Driving into the lane for Duke is Jeremy Roach, and he's fouled. 11:46 to go in the first. And we have a TV timeout. It's about to flip over to ESPN from ESPN News because the North Carolina game is almost over. 98-91. North Carolina's up by 7. It does look like the Tar Heels might hold on in that game. Still a very impressive run by Tennessee to get back in the game. I will say, though, if Carolina truly wants to be a better team this year, they got to get better on the defensive end. That's something that plagued the Tar Heels last year. They really struggled on defense. And in this game, not doing a really good job on defense, giving Tennessee 91 points. Both these teams are known for physicality. But, man, North Carolina giving up a lot of points. Still 26 seconds. Flipped it over to ESPN in anticipation of the Duke game going over there. See the rest of this Tennessee-Carolina game. But Duke and Arkansas right now are all knotted up at 13 at the under 12 timeout. Jackson says, what's up, College Basketball Nation and Only Talk Sports Nation? Appreciate that, Jackson. Appreciate you for being here. It's going to be a great game. I cannot wait for the rest of the Duke-Arkansas game. It's going to be a lot of fun. But this Carolina-Tennessee game is getting wacky. Tennessee, North Carolina just had a top, and they're going to give it to Carolina to have the arrow. But there's 22 seconds left. If Carolina can just hold on, we'll be going to the next ACC SEC Challenge game between Duke and Arkansas, all knotted up at 13. Like I said earlier, the ACC SEC Challenge replaces the Big Ten ACC Challenge that's been going on for 20 years. But since the Big Ten moved away from ESPN over to Fox and NBC, they quit doing that challenge. Now we got the ACC SEC Challenge. It's probably going to give us some great matchups for years to come. Both of these conferences, obviously the ACC is known for basketball. The SEC is more known for football, but their basketball is getting better. 22 seconds left in the North Carolina game. Can Carolina just inbound the basketball without any problems? They do. RJ Davis has it. He's running up the floor, and now there's a foul by the Volunteers. 17 seconds left. As long as Carolina hits free throws, they're good to go. Stephen Cherry says those Arkansas squads were tough with May and Day. Yes. Arkansas back in the 90s. I mean, you got to go to YouTube, to look at those highlights. For someone like me that has not watched, those teams live because I wasn't even alive then. But I've seen them on YouTube. They were really good teams. Nolan Richardson definitely, like Will said earlier, needs more attention as one of the best coaches in college basketball history. Obviously, he doesn't have the all-time wins. He doesn't have as many championships, but he still did a fantastic job at a program that was not really known for basketball. Arkansas has always been known more for football. Carolina knocks down both free throws. Their fans are happy. North Carolina's lived to the strike. 38 free throw attempts to Tennessee's 14. That's unbelievable. But now Tennessee's going to the line. 14 seconds left in the game. And Tennessee's going to the line. When you watch college basketball, these games are usually 2 hours long on a normal night. But then you get games like this Tennessee-North Carolina game. It's been on since 7:15. It's been on for 2.5 hours. And it's in regulation. That's how many free throws there have been. Both these teams just keep fouling each other. Obviously, North Carolina been to the line more, helped by that home crowd, but it's just insane how many free throws there have been, how long this game's taken. Just to get over to the Duke-Arkansas game, moving over to ESPN. Will and D says to Steven, yep, that team made Arkansas a contender for years to come. Yeah, and they were good for a while after that. Obviously, they faded away, in the late 2000s, early 2010s, but they've gotten better again with Eric Musselman. We'll see if he can get a big win tonight. And it looks like the game's done. Tennessee split the free throws. They got the offensive rebound. They missed a three, and that is it. Tennessee falls to 4-3 on the season with a 192 loss to the North Carolina Tar Heels. They're now 6-1. Tar Heel fans, they're happy. They got a big win. That's definitely going to boost North Carolina's resume for sure. Tough loss for Tennessee. Obviously, all their losses are to good teams, but they need to start racking up some wins. Now we're back over to the Duke-Arkansas game. Duke's up 15-13. Both teams are on the deck, and I think they're going to call a top, and it's going to be Arkansas basketball. But, man, both teams are fighting hard. That's what you want to see if you are Jon Scheyer and you are Eric Musselman. You want to see both your teams hustling. This is the type of game that you want to see hustle from, because Duke is a top 10 team going into a hostile environment to play an Arkansas team that's a little bit desperate. It's early in the season, so obviously a loss here would not end Arkansas's chances to make the NCAA tournament by no means, but Arkansas needs that signature win, and getting a win over the Duke Blue Devils would be a signature win. It does look like someone for Arkansas got banged up. Devo Davis did. That's not a good sign for Arkansas. They need Devo Davis back. It looked like his head hit the floor, and now he's going into the locker room. We'll see on the scrum that happened on the ground. Yeah, Devo Davis, his head hit the floor. That stinks. Hopefully he's okay. Him and Ryan Young were diving for that loose ball, and Devo Davis hit his head on the floor, and it's a hardwood floor. It is not soft at all whatsoever. Landing on it, it hurts. Definitely. Will says Tennessee can be a bit inconsistent. I agree, Will. Tennessee, usually they're more inconsistent come tournament time and like toward the end of the regular season, not in the beginning of the season. Usually Tennessee dominates in the non-con, but not this year. 4-3 right now. They got some good players, but they got a lot to work on. Will says Arkansas needs this win more than Duke for sure. I 100% agree. I mean, Duke, they're in the top 10. They've only got one loss to a top 5 Arizona team. Arkansas's 4-3. They're unranked after starting the year ranked in the top 25. They definitely need to find a way to win. Yeah, Trevon Mark, he got injured in the North Carolina game in the battle for Atlanta, so he's out tonight. They were showing highlights of him at the beginning of the game. I thought the game had started. I thought he was playing, but no, he's out. Hopefully he can get healthy for Arkansas. That's tough that they don't have him because he's a very key piece of their team. That's why Layden Blocker's playing more. Blocker over in the corner, trying to get by Ryan Young. He does, and he gets to the rim. The freshman from Little Rock, what a play. 15-15. He's getting more minutes with Trevon Mark out. That's a fantastic play right there. We got a tie game. Bud-Walton Arena, they're all on their feet. Ryan Young, top of the key. Ryan Young, bounce pass down low, and it's a missed shot, but there is a foul. Sean Stewart for Duke going to the line. Jalen Graham not happy about the call. Jalen Graham thought he played straight-up defense right there, but they're going to call a foul on it. Stephen Cherry says, can Ed Cooley turn Georgetown around? I was surprised he left Providence. I'm definitely going to talk more about that, Stephen. That's a great question right there. I got a few thoughts on it myself. Next TV timeout, I'll definitely elaborate further. And Sean Stewart's first free throw is off the mark. Terrible-looking free throw. He is a young guy. He's a freshman. So it is excusable, but you got to make your free throws. And Jalen Graham for Arkansas now has 2 fouls. So the Razorbacks are now getting in a bit of foul trouble. His second free throw's off the mark as well. So Duke missing 2 free throws there, an opportunity to take the lead, and they do not take advantage of it. 15-15, 10:30 to go in the first. L. Ellis, top of the key. Now over to Khalif Battle. Battle driving into the lane, off the mark, but I think they called a foul. So Khalif Battle will go to the line. So now Duke is 6 fouls and Arkansas is 5 fouls. So both teams are fouling each other pretty frequently. And it's been a fairly physical game, something you would have expected from Tennessee, North Carolina, and probably from this game as well, but maybe a little bit more to a lesser extent. You kind of felt like this would be more run and gun up the floor, but there's definitely been a lot of physicality, and Khalif Battle misses the free throw. So now Arkansas is missing a free throw right there. You got to make your free throws. Sometimes a game can come down to which team hits more of their free throws. That's not a good sign right there, but Khalif Battle, he does knock down the second. So Arkansas, they've retaken the lead. It's 16-15. We could have a lot of lead changes in this one. Duke's 5 of 8 at the line. Arkansas is 2 of 3. Duke going down the floor. Caleb Foster, another one of their talented players, kicks it to Ron Young. Down to Mark Mitchell on the right block, going inside, and he out-muscles by a fall, a 5-star freshman for the Razorbacks. Took him to the weight room. 17-16, Duke back in front. Under 10 to go in the first half. L. Ellis, the Louisville transfer, trying to find someone to pass the ball to. He finally gives it up. Now back to Khalif Battle. His three's off the mark, but by a fall working. He outworked Mark Mitchell on that one, getting him back. That's a really good rebound. L. Ellis inside. Kicks to Layden Blocker. Blocker driving into the lane, and they're going to call a foul on the drive. So now Duke's in the bonus. So there's going to be free throws the rest of the way for Arkansas every single time Duke fouls. They're already in the bonus with 9:38 to go in the first half. That's not good if you're a Duke fan. You have to be able to defend without fouling. You cannot give up 3 points at the free throw line. Yes, Layden Blocker, he was driving in hard, but you just got to stay straight up. You just cannot foul there. First free throw's up. It's off the mark, so he misses. The freshman misses, and the ball went off of Lawson down low, and it's going to be Duke basketball. So Arkansas now 2 of 4 at the line, Duke 5 of 8. So missed free throws, a bit of a story here in this first half. And just fouling in general. Duke with the ball. Jeremy Roach over to Tyrese Proctor, bringing it up. Now to Mitchell in the zone, and his shot is off the mark. He gets his own miss, though, and he lays it back in. Duke now up by 3. 19-16. 9:10 to go. Mark Mitchell now with 6 points. He's 2 of 5 from the field. That was a good play by Mark Mitchell, not giving up on his own miss, getting that offensive board and laying it in. Down low, L. Ellis kicks to Blocker. He's blocked by Ron Young, and they call a foul, and Ron Young does not like the foul call, but I think he got him on the arm. If he had gone straight up on that play, I think he'd have been fine, but he was trying to go for the block. Sometimes you can't get it. We'll see. Did he not foul there? Ooh, that's close. I don't know. Man, I think he might have got him on the arm. He might have got him on the arm. I think that's a good call. But Ron Young with 3 fouls for Duke. 9 minutes to go in the first half, and Ron Young already has 3 fouls. Rotational player, the transfer from Northwestern for the Duke Blue Devils, already having to be taken out of the game. That's not good at all. Now Christian Reeves is into the game. The 7'1" senior from Charlotte, North Carolina. He does not play very much for Duke, but he is now into the game. And Arkansas splits the free throws. Blocker hit one. He missed the second, and he tried to get his own miss, but it went out of bounds off of the Razorbacks. So it will be Duke Blue Devil ball. 9:06 to go in the first. Devo Davis is back on the sideline. We'll see if he does re-enter the game for Arkansas, but he did take a hard hit to his head on the ground. Proctor driving into the lane for 2. It shots off the mark, and you got Brazile with the board. 8:45 to go. L. Ellis running the floor. L. Ellis for 3, and he misses the shot. Brazile. Now it's inside to Khalif Battle. Over to Blocker for the dunk. 19-19. 8:30 to go in the first. That's a good play by Arkansas. You got to move the basketball. Timeout Duke on the floor. You have to do a better job on the weak side help defense if you're Duke, because they left him wide open. They did not rotate. And Arkansas made him pay. Jon Scheyer doesn't like it. Jon Scheyer calls that first timeout. We've got a tie game in Bud-Walton Arena, 19-19. But back to Steven's question, can Ed Cooley turn Georgetown around? I was surprised he left Providence. The reason why he left Providence, for Georgetown is because Georgetown, for one, paid them more than Providence did. And Georgetown, obviously, you're in D.C., so you've got that recruiting hotbed. Whereas Providence and Rhode Island, it's hard to recruit there. I feel like Ed Cooley believes since he did that good of a job at Providence, he can do an even better job at a program that's desperate for wins. They are desperate for wins. Georgetown is, I wouldn't say, like they're a massive brand. They're not a massive brand in college basketball, but they have a history. Obviously, Patrick Ewing, John Thompson, even had some success with Roy Hibbert in the late 2000s, early 2010s. So Georgetown has history, and they've got pretty decent fan support. So I think that's why Cooley left. He has probably more resources, and he feels that he can do it. If he can turn around Georgetown, that would look really good for him and the program. That's why he left. I was surprised he left too, because he had a good thing going at Providence, but maybe he felt like he couldn't do any better there. I feel like that's what happens with a lot of coaches. A lot of coaches feel that they cannot do any better than what they're already doing at that school, so they leave to go to another school. Sometimes a rebuilding project. So I don't know. I have no idea. Woo Pig is here. Arkansas fan. He's very happy watching his Razorbacks play really hard, but I appreciate you for being here. I really do. Definitely want Razorbacks and Duke Blue Devil fans in the stream. Appreciate you guys all for being here. We got a really good game. It's going to be a lot of fun. Will says to Steven, it may take a bit of time, more talent in the DC area than probably. See, Will said the same thing. Will said the exact same thing that I said. I completely agree that the DC area is going to help out for Georgetown. You got to keep that talent in. You have to keep it in the area, going to your program, and Ed Cooley is going to be able to do that. I believe Ed Cooley is going to get more players into that program. It's going to be a tough sell because Georgetown's been so bad. It's kind of like DePaul. DePaul used to be a good basketball program in the 1970s. But unfortunately, for DePaul, more of their guys stopped going there. They started going to Indiana. They started going to other Big Ten programs, even going down to the ACC at schools like Duke, North Carolina. So guys from the Chicago area aren't going to DePaul anymore. And since they're not, I think that's been the biggest issue for a program like DePaul. And same thing with Georgetown. Guys in the DC area aren't going to Georgetown. So you have to keep the talent in your area. You have to keep it and go to your school. And if you don't, and a lot of it's probably maybe an NIL issue these days, which obviously DePaul and Georgetown have been bad for a lot longer than that. But since they can't keep the talent in their area, that's why they're not winning. And I think Georgetown obviously is committing to success. They're committing to it. And I think they might be a little bit better. Now, will Ed Cooley be able to turn them all the way around? Who knows? But we'll have to see what happens. I think he has a shot. Michael Williams, thanks for being here. Really appreciate you for stopping by. Stephen Cherry says Syracuse versus Georgetown was must-see TV back in the day. Old school Big East. For sure. And I remember seeing a couple of those games before the Big East dissolved. I was about 7 when the Big East was still around, and you had the Syracuse-Georgetown games. They were fun. They were very fun. And now when you see sometimes the rivalry reenacted, it's just not as good of a game. The crowd support is not there as much. It's just kind of rough. So I don't know. 19-19. We got a tie game in Bud-Walton Arena. Duke misses a 3. Tyrese Proctor can't get the shot to fall. 8 to go in the first. Arkansas driving down the floor. About to be the under 8 timeout. Next foul, next whistle. We'll see what happens. L. Ellis driving into the lane. L. Ellis with a turnaround, and he tried to kick it to Layden Blocker, and there's that turnover. Arkansas being sloppy with the basketball. That's not going to help them win this game. Arkansas has to take care of the basketball. They cannot foul on a regular basis if they want to win this game. I guess they're not doing the under 8 timeout. Usually under 8 timeout would be right there, but I guess since there was a timeout before by Scheyer, they're not going to do the timeout, especially plus the Tennessee-North Carolina game ran long, so they probably want to get this game done before it's too late in the night. Now you got going down the floor, Khalif Battle. Looked like he was out of control, but he somehow got the shot to fall. 21-19. What a play, and Arkansas's in front. Duke looks a bit rattled. Kyle Filipowski's back into the game. Scheyer trying to hope that he will not foul again. He's inside. He misses the shot. He thought he got fouled, but there's no whistle. Khalif battle down the floor. Inside to number 8 for the Razorbacks, and he can't get the shot to fall. That's Lawson there. Lawson could not get that shot to fall, but I think there's a foul by the Duke Blue Devils. Duke's getting in foul trouble. When you're on the road, you have to be more self-conscientious about fouling because sometimes you're not going to get the friendly whistles. And I think in this case, if you're a Duke fan, you're probably a bit concerned because it seems like Duke is not finding a way to defend without fouling. A lot of their guys are getting in foul trouble. The only thing that's helping them out, though, is that Arkansas can't make the free throws. Arkansas just missed the first. Again, Arkansas is really struggling at the charity stripe tonight. Got to do a better job hitting free throws. So it's 21-19. We'll see if Arkansas can hit the second free throw, and they do. So it's 22-19. 7:10 to go in the first. 4 of 8 at the line for Arkansas, 5 of 8 at the line for Duke. Now it's at the under 7 mark. Top of the key, you've got Caleb Foster with the ball, being guarded by Devo Davis, who's back into the game for the Razorbacks after he hit his head on the ground. That's good for Devo Davis that he's back out there, and good for Arkansas. Down the floor, Duke's fouled. Jeremy Roach getting into the lane. Jeremy Roach getting fouled. Will and D said if this game was at Cameron, no way the Hawks would get all these calls. I agree with you, Will. You're 100% right. It'd probably be the other way around. If it was at Duke, all these calls would be going Duke's way. They're going Arkansas's way right now. And Arkansas is the only reason they're in front because Duke getting a bit of foul trouble. Duke fouling too much. Arkansas missing free throws is why it's still a close game. But now finally Duke got a call that went their way. Jeremy Roach does hit the first free throw. So it's 22-20. 6:50 to go in the first half. It's the second quarter of the first half. Roach had 18 points in their last game, and he's having a pretty solid game in this one right now. 22-21. This definitely could be a game that goes down the wire, though. I definitely think it could because of the fact Arkansas is turnover prone. Arkansas is sloppy, but you could tell that they're playing hard, getting some calls to go their way. Duke looks a bit rattled. They're having to go deep into their bench because of the fact that they keep getting guys in foul trouble. Ryan Young with 3 fouls. Filipowski had to exit the game for a little while because he was in foul trouble. So I think that's something to monitor, like I said, for this game, for the rest of it. We'll see if Duke, if they start not fouling and prevent Arkansas from going to the line, there's a really good chance that the Duke Blue Devils can win this game on the road. They were favored by 4 for a reason, but Arkansas not giving up without a fight. Down low, you had Lawson trying to go up with the layup. He could not get it to fall. That's a shot you've got to make. Arkansas has missed a couple of layups as well. 6 to go in the first. Filipowski driving into the lane, and there is a foul. Jackson says it's going to be weird watching Syracuse Georgetown next Saturday. It'll be the first matchup since 1974-75, which Bam isn't the head coach in the matchup for Syracuse. Isn't that unbelievable, Jackson? That's how long he was there. Bam was there forever. That's crazy. 22-21. Arkansas in front. Filipowski is not scoring this game. He's ranked the number 11 prospect in the NBA draft according to ESPN. And he's at the line, and he misses the first free throw. So now Duke's missing free throws. Both teams are missing free throws. This has been a pretty ugly game. It's been entertaining. Definitely been entertaining. I had a feeling this game would be like this, but I thought it'd be more open running the floor. It's been a little bit more clogged than I expected. More foul prone, a lot of mistakes, but from both teams. I knew Arkansas would make some, but it has been an entertaining game. Sometimes an ugly game can be a fun one. It's under 6 to go. 22 all. Duke 8 of 12 at the line. Arkansas 4 of 8. Razorbacks shooting 50% at the stripe. That's not going to cut it for the rest of this game if they want to win. Devo Davis over to Davenport. Now Davenport kicks to Khalif Battle. His three's off the mark. Filipowski clearing out the board. Down the floor. Jeremy Roach, his shot goes in. Duke back in front, 24-22. 5:30 to go in the first. 8 points for Roach, 2 of 2 from the field. And no one gets Trevon Brazile on the other end. Arkansas responds, 24-all. Terrible defense from Duke. Now in the corner, Duke for 3, and it's good. TJ Power, the freshman, knocking in a crucial 3 for the Blue Devils to get them back in front. Now we've got some offense. This is what we expected to see. Trevon Brazile over to Khalif Battle. Down to Brazile, and now it's out of bounds. What a terrible pass by Brazile. Tried to get it to Lawson on the low block, and that's a losing play right there for Arkansas. They cannot have plays like that. And you can't leave TJ Power that wide open in the corner. TJ Power, no one on him for like 10 feet. That's basically a practice shot for the freshman, giving him some confidence. And you don't want to give a guy like that confidence, because when you do, he's just going to keep knocking the shots in. Sometimes all it takes is one to fall for a young freshman to get confidence, and then he's good to go. 27-24. Duke up by 3. 4:40 to go in the first. Top of the key, Caleb Foster trying to find someone. Gets it to Filipowski. Now it's over to Jeremy Roach on the right wing. Driving into the lane. Nowhere to go. Kicks back out to Foster. He's driving into the free throw painted area. Back out for a 3 from Jared McCain, and it's off the mark. Brazile yet again with another rebound. 4:20 to go in the first. We're getting close to the end of the first half. Top of the key, Khalif Battle driving out of control again. Kicks to Brazile in the corner, and Trevon Brazile splash from 3. 27-27. We got a tie game again. Brazile with 11 points. He's been the main source of offense for the Hogs. 4 to go in the first. Top of the key for the Blue Devils, trying to find some offense. Arkansas being very pesky on the defensive end. It's what you expect from an underdog at home with talent. Down low, good defense from the Razorbacks, but Lawson stepped out of bounds. He did everything right on that play. He defended Caleb Foster on the drive, got the block, but then he stepped out of bounds, so it will be Duke basketball. Will said a couple years ago, I was in the D.C. area watching Jeremy Roach and Trevor Keels against Justin Moore and Hunter Dickinson. Georgetown needs to get players like them to stay on. 100% will. And that goes for Maryland, too. You talk about the Terps. The Terps and the Hoyas have to get talent from that area, because there is talent. A lot of those guys are going to other areas. They're going to North Carolina, Duke. They're going to programs that have, I guess you would say, a bigger culture for winning, more than Maryland and Georgetown has had in the last 10 years. Maryland obviously was pretty solid, in the past decade, but they weren't ever that great. And now they're, trying to start over with the new head coach, Kevin Willard. They're doing decent, but Georgetown's been abysmal for a long time. But I agree, Will, if they can get players like that to stay in the area, stay at Georgetown and Maryland, they'll be good. Jackson said, but it'll also be the first match since the 67-68 season in which Bam isn't coaching Durant State rivalry in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, it's even longer. I mean, that's 56 years ago. 1967 was 56 years ago. That is an insane amount of time. So it shows you how much of an icon Bam is when it comes to the Georgetown-Syracuse rivalry, Syracuse in general, and college basketball, how long and he was coaching and how well he coached for so long. People talk about the end of his tenure. Yeah, it wasn't too great. But in this changing world of college basketball, it's tough, and college football in general. It is very tough. You got to adapt to the new rules, the new stuff going on. If you don't, you might not win too much. Will says, what happened? Haha. Yeah, this game's been crazy. Steven said, it's hard replacing a legend. Ask Indiana. Scheyer squad doesn't defend like Coach K's squad. Yeah, I mean, you look at Indiana. Since Bob Knight, they have not been a great program. I mean, outside of a couple of Tom Crean years, Kelvin Sampson year before he got fired, got in trouble with the NCAA, and then now with Woodson, they've been pretty good, but they haven't been nowhere near the same. And if Duke continues, like this pattern of being good, but, they're not as good without Coach K, it can eventually catch up with you, and then you're just not as good of a program anymore. We'll see if that, becomes the case. Duke's still recruiting well, Players still want to play for the Blue Devils. So we'll see if Duke can stay at the top of the sport. Right now, they're ranked 7th in the country, but they're in a dogfight with the Razorbacks in Bud-Walton Arena. They're in definitely a dogfight. It's going to go down to the wire unless Duke can find a way to blow this thing open, because Duke's a better team. They probably have more talent than Arkansas, even though Arkansas is loaded with talent. They are loaded. It does hurt that they don't have Tremont Mark, but they still have a lot of talent. But Duke has, I guess you would say, more NBA level talent. And they got guys that do take care of the basketball better for the most part. But when you're on the road and in an environment like this, you can tell Duke struggling to take care of the ball, the home atmosphere for the other team can get to you. Like I said, that's why the odds makers knew. They knew it was going to be tough for Duke. That's why they only had them favored by what they did. They only had them favored by 4, because even though it's been an abysmal year so far for Arkansas, 4-3, they're out of the top 25. They need a big win. The odds makers know that this is a very tough environment. Bobby Petrino, yes, he's back. They're showing him on the TV screen next to Sam Pittman. He's been named the Arkansas football offensive coordinator. Bobby Petrino obviously was at Louisville for 3 different times. And now Bobby Petrino is back at Arkansas again after he was the coach. So we'll see if that can fix Sam Pittman's squad in football. But Eric Musselman trying to get his basketball squad to a big win, and they defended Duke to the T on that play. Caleb Foster went up for the mid-range too. It was off the mark. Arkansas's got the ball. 3:30 to go in the first half. Devo Davis with the ball, trying to find an open man, driving in, kicks to Khalif Battle in the corner. His shot went off the back of the backboard. Ball out of bounds. It's off of the Razorbacks. They're giving it back to Duke. But that shot by Khalif Battle right there in the corner's got a wide open look, and it hits the side of the backboard. Eric Musselman putting his hands on his head. He's like, that's not how we drew it up in practice. Still a tie game. Sloppy game, but it's been entertaining. Top of the key, Filipowski being guarded heavily by Lawson, down low, and a block from behind by Davenport for the Razorbacks. Devo Davis driving down the floor. Again, good to see him back out there after his hard fall. Devo Davis kicks it back to Khalif Battle, and that is another turnover for the Razorbacks. Over and back, they cross the half-court line, and Musselman sits down and discuss. Musselman is furious with his basketball team because he knows his team has that home crowd advantage. They've got Duke in some foul trouble. They need to build a lead before half, and they're not doing it. They're giving Duke chance after chance. They're playing hard to their credit, but they're playing sloppy. They got to get better at taking care of the ball. Inbounding it. Proctor to Filipowski. Driving in, Filipowski kicks to Tyrese Proctor. Now it's outside to Foster. Driving into the lane. It's off the mark. And Filipowski with the offensive board. And he lays it in. 29-27. Duke's back in front. Filipowski, that's his first field goal of the game. The Razorbacks have frustrated him all game. He's got 3 points and 4 rebounds. Top of the key, Khalif Battle to Devo Davis. Now it's over to Brazile. They've been the main off, especially Brazile for Arkansas. Who else can score? Davenport. Now over to Brazile to Devo Davis in the corner. Devo Davis's 3 off the mark over the backboard, and it's Duke ball. Arkansas cannot hit a shot. They can't hit a jumper to save their life right now. Wide open shot from the experienced Devo Davis. Most experienced guy on the whole Arkansas team, just could not get the shot to fall. Duke up 2. Duke with the ball. Tyrese Proctor over to TJ Power, who knocked in a big 3 earlier in this game for Duke. Driving into the lane, off the mark from Jeremy Roach. Davenport kicks over to Lawson, now over to Battle. Khalif Battle driving in to Davenport for 3, and it's good. Davenport gives Arkansas the lead, 30-29, and they finally hit another jump shot. It's been a while for Arkansas. Now there's a foul on Khalif Battle. You get a little bit of momentum. Arkansas takes the lead. Jeremiah Davenport splashes a triple, and then Khalif Battle gets called for a foul. And now you're sending Duke to the line. So that little bit of momentum you had, out the door. So now you've got Jared McCain. He's at the line for Duke. He's a freshman. Duke at the line in that hostile environment. Can they knock down free throws? It's very tough when you are on the road and you've got a loud crowd making it hard to hit free throws, and it affected Jared McCain because he just missed the free throw. Duke's struggling at the line. The Razorbacks are struggling at the line. But Arkansas is up 1 on their own floor. Khalif Battle to Brazile. 4 of 8 at the line for Arkansas, 8 of 13 for Duke. Devo Davis tried to kick it to Davenport. He tried to thread the needle. He threaded it too hard because that was not a good pass. Duke was all over that one. TJ Power for 3. He knocks it in. I'm telling you, when you give a freshman a 3, TJ Power was wide open for 3. You get him some confidence. Now look at him. He's talking to his teammates. TJ Power feeling it right now. 2 threes, Duke back in front. 32-30. Devo Davis over to Khalif Battle. Battle thought about the 3. He decides to take the 3. It's off the mark, but an offensive rebound for the Razorbacks. Devo Davis has it. Over to Davenport. That was a really good offensive board. Offensive tap out by the Razorbacks. Davenport for 3. And Davenport knocks in another one like TJ Power did. You see one go through the net. Much easier to hit another one. 33-32. 15 seconds left in the first half. Everybody on their feet. Bud-Walton, top of the key. Mark Mitchell. Now Duke for a mid-range 2 from Jared McCain. It's off the mark. 4 seconds left. Khalif Battle down the floor. He takes a 3 with 1 second left, and it's off the mark, and that is the end of the first half. Arkansas in front by 1. Khalif Battle is not playing well, though, in this game. I will admit that. He has been sloppy. He's been taking bad shots, but it hasn't mattered because Arkansas, somehow, with all the mistakes that they've had, they're in the lead. They are in the lead 33-32 at the half. If they play hard for another 20 minutes, they could win this game. But the Duke Blue Devils, once they get all of their guys back out there and out of foul trouble, they definitely can come back and win. This should be a dandy in the second half. Again, Arkansas 33-32 over Duke. The underdogs at home, up by 1. Will says Maryland was really good in 2020. Wish we could see how they would do in the tournament. Yeah, a lot of teams were like that in 2020. Dayton, San Diego State. There were so many teams that year that unfortunately, because of the fact that the tournament was canceled, we never got to see what they could have done. It's unfortunate. So many teams that would have probably done really well that normally don't. I mean, obviously, San Diego State a few years later ended up going far in 2023 in the tournament, but they had a great team in 2020 as well. And then obviously Obi Toppin at Dayton, like you said, the Maryland team. A lot of good teams, just didn't get to see it. It stinks. They're showing the highlights. To North Carolina and Tennessee. Man, this was a barn burner. North Carolina started out hot, but then they had to hold on to their lead. They were up by over 20 points on Tennessee. But then the Vols came roaring back, but North Carolina shot enough free throws to get the win. 100-92 in the ACC SEC Challenge, the inaugural ACC SEC Challenge. The Tar Heels, they looked pretty good at home, had a great home crowd on tap for the game, but Tennessee gave them everything they had and tried to do in the second half, just wasn't enough for the Vols. And now they're 4-3. They got 3 losses. Obviously, they're still going to be ranked after this game, but they're slipping down the polls quick. Jeff says, I'm here and watching the game. Appreciate that, Jeff. Appreciate you for stopping by. We got a great one in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Whole second half left. Should be a lot of fun. Will says to Jeff, what's up, Jeff? Excited to watch the SEC Championship game on Saturday. I definitely am. It's going to be a blast. You're talking Alabama and Georgia. Oregon, Washington, Wells going to be great, but Alabama and Georgia cannot wait for that game. If Alabama wins, they'll have a shot to make the playoff. But even with a win, they might not get in. With a loss, obviously, they're done. Georgia's probably in no matter what, so it's going to be interesting. Virginia upset Texas A&M, unless you want to not call it an upset, but A&M was ranked. But Virginia beat Texas A&M in basketball earlier tonight in the ACC SEC Challenge. A&M slipping a little bit. Virginia with that slow offense and that slow defense. Sometimes they get to teams that aren't ready for it. They're showing more highlights from the challenge right now. They're showing Florida Wake Forest. Wake Forest beat Florida. That's wild right there. Hunter Salas, the Gonzaga transfer, with 24 points. So it seems like the ACC is doing pretty good in the challenge right now. Arkansas is going to have to prove the SEC's worth by trying to get a win over Duke. Will and D says Bobby Petrino needs to behave himself. Looks like he's been more disciplined, which is good for the Razorbacks. Yeah, I mean, obviously, he said himself he didn't like the way his tenure ended with Arkansas. We know what happened, the reports, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. Bobby Petrino, definitely just do your job. Coach offense. Try to hopefully coach offense better than what A&M was producing. Because it's going to be interesting. It's wild that he left Texas A&M to go to Arkansas. So that probably means he knew he wasn't going to be retained. Because I don't think he's getting paid more at Arkansas than he was at A&M. Probably with Mike Elko coming over, he probably knew that he wasn't, I guess, going to be retained. That's my belief. He went over to Arkansas. Now to go back to his team he was at before. Maybe him and Pittman can fix that football team, but they're definitely struggling. Right now, the ACC is at 6 wins in the challenge. The SEC has 4 wins in the challenge. So the ACC, again, is doing better than the SEC. The ACC is the perennial basketball conference. A lot of people are saying, now it's the Big 12 because you got Kansas, you got Houston, Baylor, and they got a lot of other good teams as well. But the ACC is known for basketball, a lot more than football. The SEC's been coming around lately. Big 10 not having championship success and tournament success, but regular season success. But yeah, the ACC proving their worth right now, up 6-4 on the SEC in the challenge. Steven says, tell Bobby Petrino to leave the Cubs alone this time. That's funny, Steven. I think Bobby Petrino is going to do everything he possibly can to help turn around that team. Pittman knows, just because you got goodwill, just because people like you because of what you've done at a program, if you start losing, people forget all that. Look at Tom Allen at Indiana football. People love Tom Allen. No, he was a great guy. People loved his personality, his LEO monitor, love each other. People love that. And then what happened? They weren't winning anymore after the 2019-2020 seasons. So Tom Allen's out, and they're going to be hiring a new coach. So if Sam Pittman doesn't turn it around at Arkansas football, he's going to be on the way out as well. Probably another year or two. You got to keep winning, especially in the modern day of college football, NIL, transfer portal. People are moving quickly these days. Things are moving quickly these days. And if you don't win, they'll replace you. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But this Arkansas-Duke basketball game at the half right now, the game's kind of gone the way I expected to an extent. I was expecting a lot of turnovers from Arkansas. There's been more fouls than I was expecting, especially on Duke. Even though, ironically, Duke shot more free throws, even though Arkansas has more, Duke has more fouls, but Duke shot more free throws. It doesn't make any sense. It seems like when neither team was in the bonus yet, Arkansas was fouling on jumpers, because that's why Duke's shot more free throws. But Duke has more guys in foul trouble. So we'll see how it all shakes out in the second half. Both teams have fouled a lot, and Arkansas does have a couple of guys in foul trouble, but so does Duke. Seems like Duke is more foul, so we'll see what happens. Will says to Steve, remember his press conference after you beat him in the Sugar Bowl? That's funny. Steven definitely laughing about that. Jackson said, especially around Christmas time. 100%. Definitely agree. Jeff says, hey, Will, I'm very excited too. Go Bama. I know Bama fans are. And I think it's funny, and I know that it's just the way fans are, especially when you are a fan of a great program like Alabama, so you expect to win. But it's so funny that I'm seeing some people online, they're like, we're going to beat Georgia, it's guaranteed. I'm like, man, this is going to be a dogfight game. It's going to be a fantastic game, and there's no guarantees. Georgia's the favored team. Georgia should win over Alabama, but the Crimson Tide have enough there that they can knock off Georgia. I mean, Georgia was perceived to be better in 2021, but Alabama still beat them. So we'll have to see. It's going to be really interesting. Stephen Cherry said, how did Tom Allen let Penix get out of town? That sealed Allen's fate. Absolutely, Stephen. The reason why Michael Penix left, I don't believe it was an NIL thing, even though Indiana obviously is less NIL than Washington. But it's because every year Michael Penix kept getting hurt. Indiana's offensive line was abysmal. Indiana needed to recruit linemen. Indiana needed to have a good O-line coach to help Penix out. Then Penix would have stayed. But if Penix suffered another career or season-ending injury, it might have been his career. I think that's what, made Penix decide to leave and go to Washington and team up with Kalen DeBoer again, who was the offensive coordinator at Indiana. But yeah, I agree. When Penix left Indiana, that was it for Tom Allen. You never really thought that he was going to be able to turn it around. And that's why they're going after a new coach, and we'll see if Indiana in the new Big Ten next year can win. They just showed a massive upset tonight. St. Joseph's beat Villanova. After Villanova played really well in Feast Week during Thanksgiving week, and you saw Villanova get in the top 25. Well, now they're probably going to be out of the top 25 because losing to St. Joe's, I know St. Joe's, some people said that they're better this year, and obviously they are if they're beating Villanova, but that's not a good loss for the Wildcats. Now they're showing Georgia, Florida State highlights in the ACC SEC Challenge. A lot of good games. I mean, I missed the Big Ten ACC Challenge. It will always hold a special place in my heart. It was a very fun event for both conferences. Lasted for so long, basically the entirety of my life. But it's over. And now we got the ACC SEC Challenge. It's been fun. Boston College is destroying Vanderbilt right now in the challenge. Auburn's beating Virginia Tech. Not surprising on Auburn, but a little surprising Boston College is destroying over there. Vanderbilt. You would have thought Vanderbilt would have done a bit better. Michael Williams says everything shaped up for Ohio State to sneak in the playoffs. If you're talking about this year for Ohio State to get in the playoffs, I wouldn't say everything is in shape. Because, I would say for Ohio State to get in, they need an Alabama loss, they need a Texas loss, and they need Florida State to lose. And they probably need Oregon to lose. I think they need all of them to lose because if one of those teams wins, then Ohio State isn't getting in. Alabama and Texas would leapfrog with a win. So, Ohio State still has a chance, Michael, but it's going to be very tough. Will and D says Eric Reynolds for St. Joe's is really good. Billy Lane coaching for his job has been doing a good job. They almost won at Rupp. Yeah, I remember that, Will. Me and you were talking about that game. They need, man, that's crazy. That's absolutely great. I remember that game. They almost beat Kentucky. So, Eric Reynolds doing a good job there. And as a player, Billy Lane's trying to keep his job as coach, and St. Joe's getting a big one over Villanova. Will says they need Texas, Bama, Florida State all to lose. Could be tough. I still think they need Oregon to lose because if Oregon wins, Washington might get in over them. Because Washington would have one loss, but if it's a close loss to Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game, they might put them in over Ohio State. Maybe just by a little bit. Could be wrong. They could put Ohio State in over Washington in that scenario. But it would probably be better for Ohio State to have Oregon, Texas, Bama, Florida State all lose. But it's going to be wild. Right now, Arkansas needs Duke to lose in basketball because the Hogs are 4-3, which is not a good record this early in the season. Granted, they have had some tough games, and it's not like all the, their losses are bad teams. They're just abysmal, but Arkansas is not the team that people were expecting. And I did say when talking about Arkansas back in the preseason when I was doing their transfer portal videos, made transfer portal videos for L. Ellis and some of the other players that went over their Khalif Battle. I said it's going to be interesting to see how this team meshes together. And it might take a while. This Arkansas team could be really good in a couple months. They could be a top 20 squad, but right now, they're not there. This Arkansas team has a lot of disjointed pieces, a lot of talent, but it's not meshing together at all. Guys there's several times where they're out of position. They don't look like they know what they need to be doing out there on the floor. And I just think that comes with not being familiar with each other. It comes with time. In this portal era, a lot more teams are experiencing this because they are getting guys from the portal. They're getting high school players, and they're trying to make it all fit. And sometimes it takes a month. Sometimes it takes a couple months for it to work out. And then you can really start actually being able to tell how good your team actually is. Arkansas's got the talent. It's not the issue. They just need to figure it all out. Yeah, it's also Jimmy V week as well. Want to point that out. Jim Valvano, the NC State coach, fantastic head coach, unfortunately passed away from cancer back in 1993, but they always do this every year for him, the Jimmy V week. the Jimmy V Foundation. It's a really good thing. His speech is iconic. Don't ever give up. It's awesome stuff. It's very sad that he passed away. But yeah, I just definitely wanted to bring that up as well. They showed a clip of it again during the going into the timeout. They're about to be starting the second half as well. But yes, Jim Valvano, definitely a college basketball icon. Steven says, we had our chance to get in, but we went the bet against Michigan and McCord, not a championship level quarterback. And see, Kyle McCord might eventually be that good. I mean, we don't know, but that is a big problem because you talk about the fact that the playoff is still at 4 teams this year, and the Big Ten still had divisions. If the Big Ten did not have divisions, then Ohio State would have rematched with Michigan in the championship game. And if Ohio State won, they're in the playoff. But since Iowa out of the West gets to go, Ohio State has no more games left. In future years, now there's going to be a 12-team playoff, Ohio State's in because they're ranked in the top 8. They're like 6th right now. So, I don't know. That's just the whole problem that people, have with the 4-team playoff is because good teams don't get in. I think the issue, though, with the 12-team playoff is I kind of like it like this because it makes it where, oh, no, you lost the game and it, costs you the season. Whereas now you can lose 2 or 3 games and you're still going to get in. It just makes the game seem less important. Like you're not putting your whole team and your season on the line in this game. So future Michigan-Ohio State games, for example, aren't going to be as impactful because both teams are going to make the playoff in most years in that scenario if both teams are undefeated or have like 1 loss or whatever. So it is what it is. They're going to a 12-team playoff, nothing to do about it, but definitely when you had a 14 playoff, it made the stakes a whole lot higher. But Ohio State, again, final year with 14 playoff, need a lot of things to go their way to get in. We'll see what happens. Cannot wait for the championship games this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. Will says, my dad's battling cancer. Jimmy V week has meant a lot for me since his diagnosis. Oh, I didn't know that, Will. I'm be praying really hard for him. For your dad. That stinks, man. I've had a lot of family members pass away of cancer, and it's no laughing matter. It's unbelievable, actually, the amount. People that I've known in my life that have passed away from family, friends, tons of people. It stings. I probably can count on 2 hands, maybe more. I don't know. It's been over 5. I know that. And I'm sure a lot of people know people as well. I mean, when you know a lot of people and they're your friends and your family and they pass away from it, it's tough. I mean, it's a big deal. And hopefully, less people will die of it in the future. I mean, definitely hoping for that. And I'm hoping that your dad will be okay, Will. Definitely, I'll be praying hard. That definitely stinks for sure to hear. And I definitely hate cancer for anybody. It is a dreaded thing. Some cancers are worse than others, but all cancers are dangerous. But some are definitely worse than others. We got a fantastic second half coming up. 33-32, Arkansas ahead of Duke. And I don't know, I just had this twinge. This was going to be the better game than the North Carolina-Tennessee one. And as I say that, the second half might be a blowout. Duke or Arkansas blow it away, blow it open. But it was an entertaining first half. Both teams sloppy as ever, but it was still entertaining. Both teams giving us a ball game, giving us a lot of entertainment. Seems like Dan Schulman and Jay Billis, they're happy to be in Bud-Walton Arena. The ACC SEC Challenge, the inaugural edition. Arkansas is a sold-out crowd. They want to beat top 10 Duke, one of the blue bloods of college basketball. Arkansas, a great program. Not a blue blood, but they are a great program. Nolan Richardson built that team up. Eric Musselman now is the head coach of the Razorbacks. He's brought talent in. He's had a lot of success there in a short time. But this year's been a rough start for the Hogs. They're 4-3. They got Tremont Mark out in this game, but they got some young guys coming in, making an impact. Trevon Brazile looking like he's returning to form off of his injury. Duke making some mistakes. Not playing crisp basketball either. Both teams turning it over. We'll see what happens. The second half is about to start. Looks like Duke is getting the ball first. It's a sonic blockbuster. So is the first game. So is this game. Both games have been fun to watch, especially this one so far. Duke's got the ball. 19:50 to go in the second half. Filipowski, top of the key, being guarded by Lawson. Inside to Jeremy Roach. His shot's off the mark. Devo Davis has the rebound. Devo Davis kicks to L. Ellis. It's a dynamic backcourt. L. Ellis trying to get a ball screen. He does. He gets inside. Nowhere to go. He's looking for somebody to pass the ball to. Finally finds Lawson, but no one was helping him out. When someone's in trouble, you gotta help him out there. L. Ellis trying to make a move. 5 seconds left. Driving into the lane. Gets to the rim. Blows by Filipowski, and he lays it in. Arkansas up by 3. First 2 points for L. Ellis, the Louisville transfer. He's 1 of 5 from the field. Big bucket for him. That might get him going. Tyrese Proctor over to Filipowski, who's been silent in this game with only 3 points. Proctor inside to Filipowski. He gets double teamed. Gets out of the double team. Goes up strong. And a block from Lawson. Arkansas with great defense there. Chandler Lawson with 3 points, 4 blocks. Devo Davis over to Trevon Brazile. Trying to find someone to pass the ball to. Kicks it back out to Devo Davis. Now to L. Ellis. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Similar looking plays before, but this time L. Ellis finds Chandler Lawson for the slam. 37-32. Largest lead of the game for the Hogs. 18-20 to go in the second half. Bud-Walton is getting louder and louder. Duke needs a bucket. Filipowski kicks it back out. Who's going to take the shots as we go further and further down the stretch in the second half? Filipowski for 3, and that's not the shot that Duke was looking for. Filipowski can make that shot, but down 5 on the road. Got to pound it inside. And Duke loses the basketball out of bounds. It's going to be Razorback ball. Man, that place is rocking and rolling. It is a loud environment. Musselman knows that environment is going to be a big reason why his team wins if they do knock off the Duke Blue Devils. 18 to go in the second half. L. Ellis top of the key. Being guarded by Jeremy Roach. 3-on-3. Ellis. Davenport, he thought about the deep 3. Wisely decided to not take it. Davis inside. Almost traveled. Kicks to Lawson down low. Back out to Brazile. 5 on the shot clock. Brazile for 3. His shot is off the mark. Filipowski with the board. Bad possession for the Razorbacks. Duke getting a big break. Now you got Proctor at the top of the key. Proctor trying to drive in. Kicks over to Filipowski. Filipowski finds McCain in the lane. Jared McCain shots off the mark, but Filipowski with the offensive rebound. Filipowski misses again. Arkansas gets the board, and there's a top. It looked like Trevon Brazile had it, but they're going to call a top. Arkansas has the arrow anyway, so they're going to get the ball, but it did look like that was a foul on Duke. I have to say it looked like a foul. That was definitely just ripping the ball out of Brazile's hands. It's Jared McCain. Yeah, that has to be a foul. I don't think that was a top at all. But regardless, even though Razorback fans are frustrated with the call, Arkansas does have the ball with a chance to go up by 3 possessions. Davenport for 3. His shot's off the mark. If that had gone in, the roof would have blown off that place. Duke down by 5. Proctor with the ball. Filipowski has 7 boards now. Proctor's 3's off the mark. McCain with the rebound. Kicks to Roach. Roach in the lane. Roach's shot is good. What a play by Jeremy Roach. That's the veteran right there, knowing we don't need to be taking these jumpers. We need to get inside. Roach with 10 points. That's a good play. 16:30 to go in the second half. L. Ellis driving into the lane. His shot's good. What a floater by L. Ellis. 39-34. 16:20 to go in the second half. Ellis now with 4 points. In the second half, he had 0 in the first. Sometimes it takes a player a little bit to get going. Just one shot to fall, even if it's a layup, to start seeing more shots go in. Duke down low in the paint. Filipowski goes up strong. His shot's off the mark. Ball's out of bounds, but they're going to call a foul on Arkansas. So Filipowski looks like he'll be going to the line. Filipowski looks like he's in a bit of pain. He could just be a bit tired as well. Both teams battling hard down there. I don't think Musselman liked the call, though. Musselman thought his team played straight-up defense, but the refs did not call it as such. 39-34. Davenport's going to the bench. Man, Musselman's mad. You could verbally see that he was not happy at all. No free throws for Duke, though. But Duke misses a shot, gets their own miss, and down the floor, Tyrese Proctor for 2. That's a bad break for Arkansas. Had a shot to go up by 3 scores, but they allow Duke to get the ball back, and Proctor lays it in. Proctor's playing really well for the Blue Devils. Lawson around the free throw line, kicks it to Ellis. Ellis driving into the lane, goes up strong, off the mark, rebound by McCain, up the floor to Proctor, to Filipowski, and Duke for 2. What a play by the Blue Devils, 39-38, and when Duke's running the floor, they're dangerous. 1-point game. 15 to go in the second half. Hogs up 1. Bud-Walton quiets a bit. Ellis with the ball. Gets a ball screen from Lawson. Ellis in the paint. Kicks out to Trevon Brazile. Splash for Brazile. Arkansas up 4, and that gets Bud-Walton back on their feet. 42-38. What offense from the Hogs. 14 points for Brazile. Duke with the ball for 3, and it's good. How did Jeremy Roach hit that shot? He was like he was falling down as he shot it, but it went in. 42-41, and here comes the offense. Here come the Razorbacks down the floor, clinging to a 1-point lead. Arkansas 6 of 17 for 3. Duke 5 of 15. Khalif Battle with the ball over to Ellis. Ellis kicks back to Battle, down low to Devo Davis. Out to Ellis, inside to Lawson, back to Davis, back down to Lawson for 2. What a play. That's playing buddy ball, passing it back to each other till you find the open man. Lawson cashes in on the bucket, 44-41. Duke down by 3 in the lane. Roach to Filipowski. He gets the ball. He misses the shot, gets his own miss, and he lays it in. Good job by Filipowski sticking with it. 44-43. Under 14 to go in the second. There's been no TV timeout. There's been no fouls. This is some great basketball action. Both teams playing hard. Brazile driving in. Out to Davis. To Khalif Battle. Ellis in the corner. Takes a mid-range. It looked like he was taking a mid-range shot, but he kicked it to Lawson down low. But what a block by Ryan Young. Fantastic D from Duke. They can retake the lead. If Filipowski hits this shot, he does not. Ryan Young cannot get the board, but they're going to call a foul, I think, on the Razorbacks. And now you got your under 16-minute timeout with 13:32 to go. Musselman's still not happy. Musselman said it was a flop by Ryan Young. I mean, he can have an argument. I don't know, though. There's an argument to be made that it was a flop, but still. They had to call a foul because he did get knocked to the deck, and it looked like there was some contact there. So Arkansas up 1. It's going to be Duke basketball out of the timeout. If you see right here, Colorado State beating Colorado 70-62 over on CBS Sports Network. 5:30 to go in the second half in that game. Colorado State now ranked number 20. Colorado was ranked last week, and they got a 5-star freshman in Cody Williams. But they're struggling in that game. Looks like the Rams might get the Buffaloes in that one, which would be a big win for the Mountain West. But Arkansas at home, 4-point underdog. They need a big win. Razorback fans know it. Their team knows it. Musselman has his team playing hard. I will say, though, where Arkansas has done a good job in this game, even though it's made the game very ugly to watch at times, they've slowed the game down. Not like Virginia has, but Arkansas takes a long time normally on possessions to score. Like, they hold the ball for around 20 seconds. So then when Duke has the ball, they're set on defense. Then Duke's kind of like just running around trying to find a play, and then they're trying to score late. The last few possessions, the game's opened up a bit. And Duke's starting to run the floor. And that's where Filipowski got that layup in transition. If that continues, I don't know if Arkansas is going to be able to win this game because Duke is very good at running the floor. Arkansas, I think they're best served to kind of slow this game down a bit. You don't want to slow it up too much, but it is going to be tough for the Razorbacks to win if Duke's getting out in transition. I thought that this game would be all up and down the floor at the beginning of the game. That's what I thought the game plan for both teams was going to be, but that has not really been the case. But now that you're starting to see that emerge in the game, Duke's taking advantage of it. And now, even though they're still losing by 1 point, you do see the concern on Eric Musselman's face, because I do think that he can tell that the tide's turning a little bit in the game, even though his team's still in front. But there's only two ways Arkansas can win this game. Either they outdo what Duke does best, outrun the floor, out-hustle, or Arkansas has to make this game as ugly as possible and hope they win in a dogfight. So far, that's been their strategy, even if it's not intentional. Even if it's accidental, it's been working. But now that Duke's starting to run the floor, can Arkansas run with them up and down the floor, playing a spread offense? Can they maintain the lead? We'll have to see what happens in the final 13-32 in the second half. But I really appreciate everyone for being here. Like the stream down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Share the stream out on social media. But most importantly, I appreciate all you guys for being here. It's been a great game, and we still got 13-32 to go. Long time yet left in this one. In Bud-Walton Arena. Will it go down to the wire? Will Arkansas be able to upset Duke? Or will the Blue Devils be able to get a big road win? Even though to a lot of people, they would probably look at it and say, well, Duke, they beat an unranked team on the road. This is not your average unranked team. Arkansas is very talented. They've had a tough start to the season, a tough schedule, but they are a very talented team. This would be a big win for Duke if they could get it. That might age well, especially if Arkansas gets better as the season goes along. Roach driving into the lane. Roach going up, and he missed the layup. Jeremy Roach missed a layup about as easy as one that Khalif Battle had in the first half. He always would hit that normally. L. Ellis knocks down a jumper. Keep an eye on that swing in possession. Duke could have taken the lead with Jeremy Roach's layup, but instead, L. Ellis on the other end gets the Hogs a bucket. He's got 6 points, 46-43. Filipowski thought he was fouled. There was no call. Arkansas down the floor. Arkansas going up, and there's a foul. Razorbacks with 12:53 to go. And that's Layden Blocker. That's the freshman from Little Rock, Arkansas. He's had a pretty good game. He's been a big surprise for Eric Musselman. I don't really think he was expecting big things from him as a freshman, especially this early in the year. But he's done a really good job, especially with Tremont Markout. He's had to step up. They called that foul on the floor, so no shots. TJ Powers back into the game for Duke, the freshman. He hit a couple threes in the first half. We'll see if he can contribute in the second half. Arkansas with the basketball, up by 3. Khalif Battle, top of the key. He's on the freshman, TJ Power. Kicks inside the lane. Blocker, what a save, because it was a pass that was too hot to handle. Battle down low, and he's fouled. But Khalif Battle just cannot get a shot to fall. Had a layup there, should have made it, but he did not. Now he's going to the line. So if he hits these, it's still a win for the Razorbacks, but that's a shot Khalif Battle has to make. Under 13 to go in the second half. It's 46-43. And Battle has a shot to put his team up by 2 scores, which he does. His first free throw is good. It's 47-43. The ACC SEC Challenge has been a fun and inaugural edition of this event. It's going to be back next year and from years to come, because both the ACC and the SEC are on ESPN. But both conferences are really good in basketball, especially the ACC. The ACC is winning the challenge right now, but if Arkansas can win, that would really help out the SEC. And Khalif Battle, he knocks down both free throws. Ron Young for Duke is 4 fouls. Obviously, he's a bench player, so it's not too big a loss, but he's an important depth piece for Duke that keeps Filipowski on the bench to give him rest. And they just called a foul on Khalif Battle. Khalif Battle thought it was a top. They didn't give it to him. So it's 48-43. Arkansas up 5. And they only have 3 fouls in the second half. So does Duke. So that's important to keep an eye on. Which team gets in foul trouble more in the second half? Both teams with only 3 fouls. That's not too bad. We'll see how that progresses as the half goes. Down the floor, Proctor misses the shot. Arkansas down the floor. Khalif Battle takes a 3. It's good. Khalif Battle's crazy play, it paid off that time. I did not think he should have taken that shot, but he did. and it's good. 51-43, and Jon Scheyer uses a timeout. He's got 2 left. Arkansas has 3. But what a shot off the little ball screen. It wasn't even a big one. Khalif Battle fading to his left. Gets the shot. Rises up over Jeremy Roach. And now the Hogs are up by 8, and Bud-Walton Arena is in full force. Duke's going to have to find a way to respond. But if they do not, Arkansas could be getting their first big win of the season, a top 10 win over the Duke Blue Devils, a win they desperately need. Like I said, it might not get them back into the top 25, but that's not very important. Right now, Arkansas just needs to get back on track. They had a tough start to the season, like I said, playing some tough games, and that's always hard when you are a team like Arkansas that's built through the portal. So many new faces trying to learn how to play together. But sometimes those early losses can be a motivator. It's fight or flight. You either give up and let all the losses get to you if you're Arkansas, or you fight back. We're 4-3. We know Duke's coming to town. They're in our building. Let's take advantage of it. Let's use our home crowd support. Let's play hard. Let's get this big dub. And that looks like what Arkansas is doing. Like I said, that missed layup from Jeremy Roach was huge, because Duke could have taken the lead right there. It could have been 45-44, but when he missed that layup, L. Ellis went down the other end, knocked down a jump shot, and now Arkansas is up by 8. It's not an insurmountable lead. Duke can still come back, but that was a big swing. I don't know how Arkansas would have responded if Duke took that lead there. Would they have gone down the floor and scored? Would they have been able to regain the momentum? Because Duke has taken the lead a couple times in the first half, and to Arkansas's credit, they fought back, but still, that was a massive, massive swing. If Duke loses this game, that missed layup from Jeremy Roach, and actually a couple possessions before that, Filipowski missed one as well. Very key plays. It is giving Arkansas confidence, and when you give an underdog confidence, it's always dangerous for the team that's favored, and Duke's in big trouble. If this was in Cameron Indoor, I don't really think most people would be expecting an Arkansas win, especially with how disjointed this team can be at times. But you can tell they're feeding off that home crowd. Duke's letting the crowd get to them a bit. And that's why when you are on the road, the best thing you can possibly do is get a lead and maintain it. You want to keep that home crowd at bay. I've watched plenty of games in college basketball in the past where a team goes on the road, goes up by 15, takes that crowd out of the game, and then they maintain that lead and they win. But Duke never did that. They got ahead by a couple points, but they could never take control. They've allowed Arkansas to hang around. And now Arkansas is going full throttle, causing Jon Scheyer to use his second timeout. Razorbacks up by 8. We got 12-13 to go. It's going to be a lot of fun. Appreciate everyone for being here, but this is going to be a good finish to this game. Like I said, I was looking forward to this one. I knew Duke going on the road at a desperate Arkansas team, this was going to be a fun game. It's lived up to the billing, and they're showing the game Will was talking about back in 1994. Arkansas versus Duke in the national championship game. What a matchup that was between Nolan Richardson and Mike Krzyzewski. Both teams were really good. And the Arkansas Razorbacks beat the Duke Blue Devils 76-72 for Nolan Richardson to win a national championship. Someone in the stands in the crowd says, party like 1994. Well, if Arkansas wins, they're going to be feeling like it's 1994. Nolan Richardson, the head coach from 85 and 2002, he's at the game. His 40 minutes of heck on defense with his team's always fun to watch. Largest lead of the game for the Hogs, up 8. Filipowski driving in. What a play by Filipowski. That's why he's going to be a pick, a pretty high one in the NBA draft, because that was a really good play. His team's on the ropes, down 8, and he drives in with these and scores. But Makai Mitchell on the other end for the Razorbacks puts them back up by 8. 53-45. 8-point lead. Filipowski, he does have 9 points for Duke, but he's only 4 of 12 from the field, so the Razorbacks have limited him. Arkansas, 8 of 12 from the field. Duke, 6 of 17. Filipowski for 3. It's off the mark. That seemed like a settle, but Duke saves it from going out of bounds. Into the lane. Filipowski gets the ball from Proctor. In the corner, Proctor gets the ball back, and his shot off the backboard like Khalif Battles was in the first half. The tide is turning. Arkansas down the floor. Khalif Battle to the rim. Khalif Battle with the score. 55-45. 10-point lead. Khalif Battle now up to 13 points. He's a bucket getter. He can get hot in a hurry. Duke needs points. Where are they going to get them from? Looked like almost an illegal screen by Filipowski, but they did not call it. Now I think they call a foul on the Hogs down low. But Arkansas up 10. Look at their fans. There's a few Duke fans in the crowd, and they're worried. They are worried stiff because they know the underdog team has the momentum. The home crowd is on the Razorback side because they're playing really hard. Great effort being displayed in this game. Duke down by 10. Another team that's down by 10 is Colorado. It looks like they're going to lose. It looks like Colorado State, who's ranked number 20, is going to beat Colorado in that in-state rivalry. That's crazy. 79-69, we'll definitely keep monitoring that to make sure the Rams do win. But Arkansas up 10 on Duke, 55-45. It's been a great game, but Duke's in danger. Like I said, where are the points going to come from? When you are a team and you're down, you have to find that guy who's going to get you a big bucket when you need it. Filipowski got one, but it's not just offense. Duke needs stops. They're not getting stops anymore. Battle's getting hot. Ellis is getting hot. In the first half, Arkansas was basically just Trevon Brazile and nothing else. Now in the second half, you've got Ellis going. You've got Khalif Battle going. You don't even have Devo Davis going. What if Arkansas had Devo Davis playing well? And that's not even to take into account that Tremont Mark is not playing in this game. So Arkansas is down a very important player, but their other guys are stepping up. Still 10:55 to go, so Arkansas can't get lax and think they got the game, but they're in really good shape right now. Some other results that have happened tonight against St. Joe's. Surprisingly upset Villanova. James Madison beat Buffalo. Carolina knocked off Tennessee. Virginia beating Texas A&M in the ACC SEC Challenge. That was a bad loss for A&M. Yes, Virginia is a good team. They're coached by Tony Bennett, one of the best in college basketball, even though his style is so unique. But that's a tough loss for Buzz Williams' squad that a lot of people are backing. They're ranked in the top 25, playing well. That's a tough loss. But the last big game of the night, on right now, on ESPN, on later than all the other games because they have the Jimmy V segment at the beginning before the Tennessee-Carolina game. Always glad they do that every year for Jim Valvano. What an icon. Again, rest in peace to the legendary Jim Valvano. Spreading cancer awareness. Big deal for sure. So that made these games a bit later. So this game is 11 o'clock already, and we still got 11 minutes to go. Fans are staying up late, even though it is in Central Time in Arkansas, but it's a later game than normal. Will ND says, I watch Virginia basketball to help me fall asleep. That's a great point. Just throw on some Virginia highlights, or if Virginia's on television, you'll fall asleep. I mean, the only people that don't fall asleep watching Virginia basketball are their own fans, and sometimes they even fall asleep. But in all seriousness, Tony Bennett's got a unique style, and he wins games doing it. But, man, their offense can be ugly to watch sometimes, very boring. That's hilarious, Will. Don't blame you there. Still appreciate you for being here, man. We got 11 to go. They're showing the crowd again. Telling you, in college basketball, these home crowds make a difference. Assembly Hall, Dean Smith Center, the Cameron Indoor, Rupp Arena, Fog Island Fieldhouse, the Breslin Center, Mackey. All these arenas are fantastic, but Bud-Walton's an underrated one. Arkansas's home crowd, it's legit, especially when they're playing a top 10 blue blood program. Top 10 blue blood team. Duke's first free throw is good. Jared McCain hits the free throw. Khalif Battle has 6 points in the first half, 7 in the second half. He can keep up this hot streak. That will go a long way toward Arkansas winning. Jared McCain does hit both free throws, so he gets Duke within single digits again. 8-point game. 55-47. Duke's cashed in at the free throw line more than Arkansas has. But Arkansas with 15 assists, Duke with 7, but almost a turnover for the Razorbacks. And there's a foul on Trevon Brazile. What a mistake by the Hogs. Telling you, if you're an Arkansas fan, if you're an Arkansas player, I've said it all game, you cannot turn it over. Arkansas with a costly turnover, and now they just fouled. So now they're one more foul closer to the bonus. I don't think that was a foul, though. I disagree with that foul. That was not a foul. That's a bad call. That is a really bad call. Trevon Brazile did not foul. Terrible call. 5 fouls on Arkansas, 3 fouls by Duke. There's always a couple of bad calls per game, but that's your bad call of the game right there. It was definitely not a foul on Trevon Brazile. He didn't even touch him. He was just standing there. Duke player put his arm around him, but somehow got the call. That's crazy right there. Definitely Duke got bailed out. But see, that wouldn't have happened if Arkansas did not turn the ball over. Arkansas created that play by their mistake, turning it over. But yes, that was a bad call. But if Arkansas wants to win this game and stay ahead of Duke down the stretch, they have to take care of the basketball, turning it over, being loose with the ball. It's not going to get them where they want to go, which is a win and a successful season. But that was not a foul on Brazile. I completely disagree with the call. But it will be Duke basketball. 55-47, 10:46 to go in the second half. Inbounding is Proctor into Roach. Jeremy Roach inside. What a block. And they're calling it off of Duke. L. Ellis blocked it off a Duke player. So it's Arkansas basketball. 8 blocks for the Hawks, 3 blocks for Duke. Razorbacks up 8. So they avoided disaster on the turnover. So Ellis went up for the block. Yeah, and it hit the Duke player in the head. Tyrese Proctor, hopefully he's okay, but it conked him right on the head. Hopefully he doesn't feel the effects too much there. But Arkansas up the floor. L. Ellis bringing it across the half-court line. Nolan Richardson court, Bud-Walton Arena, everybody on their feet for the action that's happening on the floor. Can Arkansas go back up by 10 points? Battle, step back 3. He misses the shot, but there's a foul. What a mistake by Duke. Arkansas just made a mistake by turning the ball over. They get the ball back, and then Duke fouls Battle on the 3. That's a bad foul. Khalif Battle with the step back. I don't think he kicked out. I think he was fouled. We'll see. They're showing a replay of it. I don't think he did. I don't think he kicked his leg out. So it will be free throws for Battle, and he knocks down the first. He is a good free throw shooter. And when you got a shooter like Khalif Battle, you don't want to put him on the line, because when you put a guy like that on the line, it helps him knock down his shots even more, and he's stroking them in. He's hit his first 2 free throws. So it's 57-47. He hits the last one, so it's back up by 11. Another big error by Duke. Can't foul on a 3, especially a guy like Khalif Battle, who can get hot in a hurry. 9-13 at the line for the Hogs. 10-15 for the Blue Devils. 58-47. 10 to go in the second half. Duke shooting 32% from the field. Arkansas 49%. And a miss from Tyrese Proctor. Trevon Brazile with the rebound. Khalif Battle with the ball. Under 10 to go in the second half. In the corner. Layden Blocker kicks out to L. Ellis for 3. And they're going to call a foul. I think they called a foul. Or maybe Blocker stepped out of bounds. He might have stepped on the out-of-bounds line. I don't think he wrapped his arm around. But that's a turnover for Arkansas. 7 turnovers for Arkansas, 6 for Duke. The Hogs have actually taken pretty good care of the basketball. Pretty impressed with them. Thought they would have more turnovers. They've done a pretty good job in this game. It's why they're winning. But can't start turning it over now. Mark Mitchell in the lane. And a block by Brazile. Arkansas with the ball. Layden Blocker down the floor. Going up on Filipowski with the reverse layup. Arkansas up by 13. 60-47. 9:20 to go in the second. Largest lead of the game for Arkansas. Timeout. Jon Scheyer and the Duke Blue Devils. He knows. He could feel it. Arkansas has all the momentum. And Duke calling a last-ditch effort timeout to possibly slow down this momentum. But it might not matter. There's still enough time. 13-point lead for Arkansas is not enough for this game to be over. But the Razorbacks are on a roll right now. If this was in Cameron Indoor, I don't think Arkansas would win. I think it would be a pretty good game. But that shows you the big swings that there are in college basketball based on home arena. Arkansas's home arena has fueled their team. They're playing so hard. They're playing well. Best Arkansas has looked all year, especially on defense. This is the best they've looked on defense all year. They got to keep it up, but this is mighty impressive. Now, something to monitor, though. Colorado making it interesting over on CBS Sports Network, 82-77. Colorado State still up by 5, but that would be a big win for the Mountain West, but they have to hold on. Colorado trying to make it interesting. But the Duke-Arkansas game's back on. 9:10 to go in the second. Duke needs a bucket. Filipowski driving into the lane. Filipowski goes up strong. That's an NBA play for Filipowski. That's talent. 60-49 with a little spin move in the lane. Gets the shot to fall. He's got 11 points. Arkansas with the ball. L. Ellis off a screen. Kicks to Layden Blocker. Over to Khalif Battle. Khalif Battle for 3. 63-49. I'm telling you, Khalif Battle's on fire. He was cold in the first half, but he's on fire in the second half. 14-point lead. He's got 19 points. Khalif Battle does. Duke with the ball down by 14. TJ Power off the dribble, kicks to Filipowski. Now Filipowski off the dribble. What a play by Kyle Filipowski. He didn't travel. He kept his pivot foot down, spun around, got the shot to fall. Filipowski seemingly is keeping Duke in the game, but only by a thread. Battle off the dribble. Kicks over to Makai Mitchell for a mid-range 2, and Makai Mitchell, you can't guard it. Mid-range jumper, and everybody has smiles on their face for Arkansas. 65-51. 8 to go in the second. Duke down the floor, and there's a foul. That definitely bails out the Duke Blue Devils there on the drive. But oh no. Jeremy Roach is holding his leg on the ground. Hopefully he's okay. Duke cannot afford to lose Jeremy Roach. He's their veteran leadership in the backcourt and as for the whole team. Duke does not have a lot of experience. That would hurt not even just for this game, but if Duke loses Jeremy Roach for multiple games, that would be a big loss. Hopefully he's all right. But Khalif Battle, though, for Arkansas. First half, he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, but in the second half, he has been feeling it. He has hit everything. 3s, 2s, layups, free throws. He can't miss. When you got a guy like Khalif Battle, yeah, he's streaky, but when he's on, he's your team's best friend because he is hard to guard. Thankfully for Jeremy Roach, though, he did get up and he's walking off the floor. So he might be okay. Maybe it was just a stinger. I don't know if he's coming in the game or not, or he might be sitting on the bench. We'll see. I think Jeremy Roach might be coming back into the game. He's trying to walk it off. It definitely hurt. I mean, it probably felt a lot worse at first, but it's one of those injuries where the longer you start walking around on it, it will feel okay, but then it's going to really sting the next day. Looks like Roach is going to be fine. He's on the bench, though. They're letting Caleb Foster shoot the free throw. But Caleb Foster missed the first. Duke's down by 14, and now you're missing free throws. You got to hit your free throws if you're Duke. At this stage in the game, everything's turning against you. You need points. Got to hit your free throws. His second free throw is off the mark as well, and Makai Mitchell with the rebound. Under 8 to go. Arkansas smelling blood. They're up by 14. 9 of 13 at the line for the Razorbacks. 10 of 17 for Duke. Even if Duke hit all their free throws, they'd still be losing. Arkansas just outplaying Duke in the second half. Khalif Battle, top of the key, takes a 3. It's off the mark, man. If you had to hit that, wow, that place would have been loud. Caleb Foster with the ball. Duke trying to have a last-ditch effort here. Kicks to TJ Power. Over to Proctor, and it's almost a turnover. I think they called a foul on Arkansas. Tough break. Musselman's furious. He thought it was going to be a turnover. Oh, man, they're having to contain Musselman. They're having to hold him back. He's losing his mind. He's mad. The whole team's bringing Musselman back. They don't want him to get a technical. He's still trying to go over there. Eric Musselman is still screaming. He's trying to go around his players and talk to the referees. Unbelievable. That's crazy. I mean, I don't blame him. I don't think it was a foul either. But, man, you got to keep your composure. You're up 14. You don't want to blow it by getting a technical foul and helping Duke get back in the game. but I understand Musselman's furiousness with the call. Don't agree either. Stephen Cherry says Arkansas is one of the best home court advantages in college basketball, loud environment. I agree, Stephen. I think it's one that no one talks about. Like I said earlier, Assembly Hall, Breslin Center, Dean Smith Center, Cameron Indoor, Fog Island Fieldhouse, Rupp Arena. Like, some of those are the big ones. But then you talk about other teams that aren't like the main blue blood programs. That is a fantastic arena, Bud-Walton, one of the best for a very underrated college basketball program. I agree. And that's why Arkansas is winning. They're playing hard. Team's playing really hard, but I think that home crowd deserves a lot of credit. Jack Kerner is here, says, nice vid, man. Appreciate that, Jack Kerner. Appreciate everybody for stopping by who has. Like the stream down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Share the stream out on social media. But most importantly, I appreciate all of you for being here. Thanks for the compliment, Jack. Means a lot. And we got 7:28 to go. It looks like Arkansas has a big enough lead that you think they're going to be all right, but there's still plenty of time left. I've seen a lot of basketball games where teams have been up by a lot, and then the other team comes back. So Arkansas is not out of the woods. Eric Musselman, though, again, cannot lose his composure. You definitely want to stick up for your team. That's great. But if you get a technical foul, Duke gets the ball as well, then they can cut it to under 10. And then that can make Bud-Walton Arena get a little shaky on their loudness and with the environment. Duke get some confidence, and then they're right back in the game. Right now, Arkansas has all the momentum. You cannot do anything to mess it up. Steven says, everyone hit the like button. Appreciate that, Steven. Really means a lot. Really helps out the channel. Really helps out the stream. Really appreciate that, Steven. What would really help out Duke right now is they got to get some shots to fall. Because even though they're getting fouled, like Musselman's losing his mind because there have been a couple of bad foul calls in the second half on Arkansas, which is helping Duke out. But Duke's missing the free throws. Like, Musselman's getting mad because they're calling these fouls that shouldn't be fouls. And there's been about 2 or 3 to his credit. I mean, obviously Musselman was mad in the first half, but I think there's been about 2 or 3 bad calls. But the problem is Duke isn't hitting the free throws. If Duke was hitting the free throws, it would actually be costing Arkansas, but it's not costing Arkansas because Duke isn't making the free throws. There's a little kid that has a shirt on for Arkansas says, I hate Duke. Unbelievable. They're selling t-shirts for this particular game. I hate Duke. That's funny. Tremont Mark out tonight again for the Razorbacks. The transfer from Houston. He got hurt in the Carolina game during Feast Week. That's going to be big for the Hogs when they can get him back. But it's wild, though, how well Arkansas is playing even without him. And what did I just say? Duke missed another free throw. 10 of 18 to the line for Duke. 9 of 13 for Arkansas. Musselman still upset over on the sideline. 7:19 to go in the second half. I don't know if there's a clock issue. Might have been a foul. Who knows? But there has been a stoppage of play. Might have been a foul on Duke. I think they did call a foul on them. So it will be inbounding the ball. Khalif Battle. He's trying to get Jeremy Roach to stay back. Jeremy Roach is okay, by the way, if you are a Duke fan. That is fantastic news for the Duke Blue. I was glad that Roach was not injured too badly. L. Ellis driving into the lane. L. Ellis caught no man's land. Kicks out to Trevon Brazile. And his shot's off the mark. Arkansas is this close to putting the game away. They've missed a couple of wide open threes. Now Duke on the other end. Down 14, under 7 to go. They need points now. Filipowski going up strong, and he misses, but he's fouled. That's not going to make Musselman happy that there was another foul call on his Hogs. Filipowski will be going to the line, but can Filipowski make the free throws? Duke isn't hitting free throws in this game. That's been a problem. I mean, Arkansas hasn't been perfect at the line either. They've missed a few, but Duke's been to the line more. And since they have the deficit, you need to hit your free throws to stay in the game. Filipowski does knock down the first. He is a pretty good free throw shooter for a guy his size at 6'11". They said Duke's last away game versus the SEC was February 8th of 92. Duke played at LSU and they won by 10. That's when they had Christian Laettner and Grant Hill. And LSU had Shaq, and Jay Billis was a Duke assistant coach. That's how long it's been since Duke's played at an SEC school. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. You cannot have that. You need more of these big-time matchups. That's why it's good for the sport. It's good for the sport that you have the ACC SEC Challenge. You have the Big Ten ACC Challenge. You want these teams playing in these incredible environments. Duke should not have gone over 30 years without playing at an SEC school in the non-conference. That's just unbelievable. Sports Talk with Austin, if Arkansas can play this way all the time, they can be a very dangerous team in March. 100% agree, Austin. Appreciate you for being here. Thank you. Thanks for everyone being here, but appreciate you definitely for being here, Austin. I agree. Arkansas has the talent. That's why I said at the beginning of the game that I thought that Arkansas could win. I thought it would be a close game. Now, obviously, it's not necessarily a close game because Duke's down by 12. But I think some people were discrediting Arkansas because they were 4-3, unranked. People just assumed Duke would go in and win. But Arkansas's got talent. It just hasn't meshed together yet. But it seemingly is starting to mesh together a little bit right now. 6:40 to go in the second half. Arkansas just needs to keep scoring. Don't look at the clock. Don't look at what Duke's doing. Concentrate on what they're doing. They need to continue to score. Arkansas 79-33 since the 2020 season. Very impressed what Musselman's done at Arkansas. And very impressive what Makai Mitchell just did right there on that play with a reverse layup. 67-53. 14-point lead for Arkansas. Down the floor, Duke goes up strong, misses. But another foul. Another foul called on Arkansas. Man, I don't know. Musselman's going to lose his mind before this game's done. I would not be surprised if he gets a technical. Maybe as long as his team's up by enough, it'll be all right. But, man, there has been a foul on like the last 4 possessions down the floor on Arkansas. So Duke's at the line again. Caleb Foster, this time he hits the free throw. He missed both of them the last time. Steven says, I look for Penny Hardaway's Memphis squad to make a deep run to the tourney. I agree. And the thing is people forget that last year, yes, Florida Atlantic went to the Final Four, but Memphis lost by 1 point to Florida Atlantic in the first round. If Memphis did not turn the basketball over with 10 seconds left, Florida Atlantic would never have been able to get that game-winning shot, and Memphis would have won that game. And Memphis could have been the team that went far in the tournament. I don't know if they would have went all the way to the Final Four, but there was a pretty favorable schedule for Florida Atlantic. So it's crazy to think that Memphis was 1 point away from beating Florida Atlantic. Crazy how perception can shift just based off one game and one play. No one will be thinking about Florida Atlantic the way they do if they didn't go that far, and people will be thinking a lot more highly on Memphis. So I agree with you, Steven. Memphis has the potential for sure. Finally, they do call a foul on Duke. Down the floor, that will make Musselman happy. It's not going to make Jon Scheyer happy, but there has not been a foul call on Duke in a while. 67-55, 6:08 to go in the second half. But I think the foul's on the floor. Duke's not in the bonus yet because they only have 5 fouls. Arkansas has 9. So the Razorbacks will be inbounding the basketball. L. Ellis is the inbounder. Jeremy Roach is the guy guarding the inbounder. He kicks it into Makai Mitchell to L. Ellis. Nowhere to go. Kicks to Trevon Brazile. He thought about the 3, and now there's a foul on Jared McCain. So that's the 6th foul on Duke. So one more foul, and Duke's going to be in the bonus. And that's not good for Jon Scheyer's team because they're down by 12. They do not need to get Arkansas more free throw attempts. One more foul, and that's what's going to be happening for the Razorbacks the rest of the way. Now, actually, they're saying that Duke's in the bonus. I don't know where the 6th foul was then because they had 5. And now they're saying they have 7. So there must have been a mysterious foul somewhere else. But Brazile's at the line, and his free throw's no good. What a break for Duke. Arkansas has to hit those 1-and-1s, man. They get you. If you miss the front end, that's basically a turnover. Down the floor, Roach to the rim. Roach lays it in, and it's a 10-point game. 67-57. There's still time for Duke. 5:40 to go in the second. Bud-Walton Arena is getting a little uneasy. Roach with 15 points. L. Ellis with a mid-range jumper. It's off the mark. Duke with the board. This is crazy. Duke still has plenty of time. Foster in the lane. Kicks in the corner to McCain. His shot's off the mark. If that had gone in, that would have cut it to 7. Now Arkansas slowing it down. But see, Arkansas, ironically, I was saying they needed to slow it down, but they were doing better when they were running the floor. So now that things are slowing down again, how's Arkansas going to be able to put up points? They've struggled in the half court a bit. 5th career double-double for Trevon Brazile. He has 14 points, 10 boards. He's had a good game. Inside, and they just called a foul on Duke. I think they called that one on Jared McCain. They almost had a steal, but he got him with the body. So now Arkansas will be going back to the line, but it's a 1-and-1. Arkansas has got to make these free throws. 5 on the nose left in this game. And it's Layden Blocker, the freshman. These are big free throws for the freshman. His first free throw is up, and it's good. What a shot by Layden Blocker. And he knocks down the second as well. So it's 69-57. 5 to go in the second. Duke really needed a miss there. Duke needed Layden Blocker to miss that free throw. Now that Duke is down by 12, there's still time. 5 minutes is enough time for Duke to come back from 12 points down. But I don't know where Duke's going to get the points. They've struggled to consistently find the guy to score. Filipowski's kind of been that guy, but it has not been consistent, and his field goal percentage is terrible. Arkansas has really guarded Filipowski well. I think he's shooting like 7 of 16 from the field or 6 of 17, which is not a good percentage. Arkansas fans are mad because I think they just called another foul on him. As Filipowski was going down the floor, trying to drive in the lane, I think they called a foul on Makai Mitchell. He's got 4 fouls. Lawson has 4 fouls for Arkansas. So it looks like they're going to be taking Mitchell out of the game. Filipowski's first free throw is good, 69-58. Lawson's coming back in. If both Lawson and Mitchell foul out in these next 5 minutes, that's really going to help out Filipowski, because then Arkansas is not going to have really a big guy to slow him down. So that's something to monitor. Arkansas, their bigs cannot foul out of this game. Filipowski hits them both. It's a 10-point game, 69-59. 4:45 to go in the second half. Khalif Battle, top of the key, being guarded by Jared McCain. 4:30 to go in the second half. Battle still at the top of the key. Gets a screen from Lawson. Inside, and there's a missed shot by Battle. Duke with the board. They're down by 10. And the ball's off of Arkansas. 4:26 to go in the second half. But Duke just creeping around a little bit. Arkansas in control, but it's not over yet. Definitely not over yet. Duke to inbound. It's Jeremy Roach to Filipowski. Back to Roach. Duke's only hit 9 shots in the second half. I would have said make it 10, but they didn't score. Down the floor, Trevon Brazile inside, and there's a foul. He almost had the and one, but he didn't get it. But he'll have 2 free throws. Steven says, Jeffrey, you're good at play-by-play analysis. Appreciate that, Steven. It really means a lot. He says, do you have aspirations of doing it for a living? Possibly. I like doing it a lot. I really do like doing the play-by-play for these games. I mean, if that happens in the future, that will be awesome. You never know. But I do enjoy doing it. I'm glad you guys enjoy me doing it as well. But definitely doing the play-by-play for basketball games is a lot of fun. And if that happens in the future, it would be really cool. We'll definitely see what happens with it. But I would say that it's something that I would enjoy doing for sure, Steven. But I do appreciate your compliments saying I do a good job. You guys make it awesome with your chat comments. You guys are the best. Just appreciate you guys for being here, but really appreciate that, Steven. 70-59 after Brazile splits the pair of free throws. 4:10 to go in the second. Brazile has 15 points, 10 boards. Having a good game, but it would have been better if he hit both free throws there for Arkansas. Filipowski down the floor. Filipowski missed the layup. He had to hit that for Duke. Couldn't get it to fall. It just went off the back iron. Khalif Battles got the board. Under 4 minutes left, and Arkansas slow this thing down. They got to put it, shift gears down from 5 to 1. Definitely take all the possession, time on the possession that they can possibly use. Battle with a mid-range 2. It's off the mark. The only good thing about that possession, though, is at 8:20 seconds. But Duke down the floor, down 11. Roach over to McCain for 3s off the mark. And Arkansas with a crucial rebound. Duke's 1 and out. They're not getting offensive rebounds. They're not making shots. That's going to bode well in the last 3:20 of this game for the Razorbacks. Up 11. Arkansas 8-21 from 3. Duke 5-19. Ellis in the paint. Kicks to Lawson. Back out the blocker over to Ellis. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Blocker driving in. Almost loses the basketball. Duke ends up with it. a 3-on-1 down the floor and Roach for 2, 9-point game. 70-61, and Duke just keeps on hanging around. They're not done yet. Roach with 17 points. And a turnover. Filipowski steals it this time. Filipowski down the floor, and they're going to call it off of him. He thought he was fouled. Now Duke's getting furious. What a game. Both these teams fighting hard. But, man, if Filipowski had a score, got an and one on that, cut this thing to 6, oh, boy. Duke's trying hard. Got to give him credit on the road. But that ball, yeah, it's off his foot. What a steal right there by Kyle Filipowski. He put his hands on the ball. He almost had the complete steal, but the ball went off of Filipowski's foot. And it's Arkansas basketball. 2:47 to go. What a break for the Razorbacks. Sports Talk with Austin. I agree 100% on your take. Talent takes time to mesh well together and build a team chemistry. Look at the 2017-2018 team. Prime example of talent taking time to get right. 100%, Austin. I mean, you're definitely right as well. I mean, my point talking about when you look at teams and you see the ones that have that consistency, like the old Jay Wright teams at Villanova and Tom Izzo, Michigan State, some of those teams that all the guys came back, even Roy Williams to an extent at Carolina. When you have the cohesiveness of having a team and they all come back, it helps you out so much because you've already played together. You have the jump on everyone else. And once the portal and the one and done started to happen, you started to see teams like Kentucky and Duke struggle a bit, especially in the tournament, because they're playing these teams with all this experience. Now that's out the door because now you got the portal and teams are losing guys to the portal, even if they start. Sometimes they just leave, want a fresh start, want a new style of play to be in, new conference, new scenery. So it's very hard to keep a team these days. I mean, this Arkansas team, over half of it is new. Trevon Brazile, again, he was there last year, but he got hurt. He's back. You got Devo Davis back. You got Makai Mitchell, but he was even a transfer from 2 years ago from Rhode Island. So he's a transfer addition, but now he's been at the program for 2 years. But you got new guys like L. Ellis. You got Layden Blocker, who's a freshman. You got Khalif Battle, who's a transfer. Tremont Marks, a transfer. All these guys are new. This team is just so new. Duke, yes, they're new as well, but they at least got Mark Mitchell back, Filipowski back, Jeremy Roach back. It's probably one of the more experienced Duke teams that they've had in a while because they actually have some experience. Ron Young as well. He's still on the team. Transfer from Northwestern. He was a transfer, but he's been at Duke now for a couple years. He's been in the system. But, yeah, it's just wild seeing how some of these really talented teams, they just struggle hard at first. It just takes them some time. I think Arkansas by January, February could be really good. Emphasis on could because they might not be good. Maybe some of it doesn't mesh together. Maybe an injury or two happens. But this team could be really good. I would not be shocked if they're a top 15, 20 team by February if all this talent meshes together. And Musselman is a good coach. Steven says, Jeffrey, I'll catch you next time. Appreciate that, Steven. Always a blast seeing you in chat, providing your thoughts. Appreciate you for being here. And again, thanks for the compliment earlier. It means a lot. Appreciate you being here. Sports Talk with Austin says, after some of the results we have seen in the ACC SEC Challenge, is there a clear-cut better conference? Well, I have to see what the final result is because I did see that the ACC was up 6-4, but I do think that the ACC is probably the better league at the top. Like maybe a couple of the teams at the top are really good. Maybe like if Carolina ends up being really good, if Duke's ends up being really good, if Miami can beat, I know Miami lost in Kentucky, but I think the SEC has more depth. But, I mean, I don't really know. I mean, both are about the same. Because, I mean, Kentucky, you talk about Kentucky, they're looking really good right now. I mean, there's an argument made that maybe the SEC is a better team at the top. Tennessee's fading. That's one team that hasn't really lived up to the expectations early. But Kentucky's looked good. Arkansas has struggled. Alabama's been kind of up and down. They lost to Clemson. That was a bad loss. So the SEC, some of their teams are supposed to be really good, have struggled. A&M lost. I don't know. It looks like just Kentucky. At least with Duke, Carolina, you kind of have a clear cut at the top of the ACC, but I don't know. It's wild. It's going to be really interesting. But I would probably say the ACC by right now, but the SEC could be better later. I think that would be the best way to assess it because teams like Arkansas, Tennessee, they're probably going to get better, you would think. And maybe some of the teams in the ACC kind of fade. But I would say the ACC now, maybe the SEC later. 70-61, 2:20 to go in the second half. There's still time for Duke, but they need to stop. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Duke playing great defense. Trevon Brazile, 4-3. They left them open. They played great defense the entire time. Fantastic defense by the Duke Blue Devils. And then with 1 second left, Trevon Brazile showing off that NBA level talent. 18 points for him, 4 of 7 from the three-point line, and he knocked in a big one. 73-61. That might be about it for Duke. That might be about it. From downtown to Sports Talk with Austin. I agree. What a shot. I mean, to be fair, Duke kind of had to double there. They needed something to go right, but wow. You left them open. Brazil's already hit 3, and that was his 4th 3 of the game. That might be the dagger. 2:16 to go in the second half. Filipowski inbounds it. Now, Duke driving in the lane, in the corner to Roach, and Roach is fouled on a 3. Why did you do that, Arkansas? That was such a bad foul. You didn't need it. That's a really bad foul. 2:09 to go in the second half. Khalif Battle, who has played so well in the second half, fouls Roach on the 3. Now Jeremy Roach is going to have 3 free throws to possibly cut this thing under 10 again. Duke 16 of 24 at the line. Arkansas 12 of 18. I think I mentioned him maybe once, but you are right, Austin. For Alabama, too, could be really good. Yes, but they lost to Clemson. That was a tough loss, but they could be good. They have talent, but early in the season, some of that talent meshed together. Grant Nelson, the North Dakota State transfer, how has he been integrated into that offense? It's kind of worked, but it kind of hasn't. So Alabama's lost to Ohio State and Clemson, 2 teams people thought they would beat. So you're right, Austin. They could be good. We're struggling right now, but it is early in the season. Roach, 2 for 3 at the line, 73-63, and now they call a foul on Duke. So we might have a foul fest the rest of the way. As long as Arkansas hits the free throws, they're going to win. They're up by 10. 2:07 to go. And now Duke just fouled. So we'll see if Arkansas can hit these free throws. Both teams are in the bonus plus, so it's going to be 2 free throws the rest of the way. Arkansas has shot a better percentage at the line than Duke by a little bit, but Duke shot more free throws. Brazile's 2 of 4 today, so he struggled a bit, but his free throw's good. It's always easier to hit free throws when you're at home and you got the lead. So you would expect Arkansas to hit these because they have the lead. The home crowd's on their side. We'll see if they can knock them down, seal this win. Brazile's second free throw, it's off the mark, so he continues to split free throws. Now Brazile's 3 of 6 at the line, really the only area he struggled in this game today. 74-63, Duke for 3. It's off the mark, and the ball is out of bounds. Arkansas basketball. It's looking more and more like the Razorbacks are going to win. 1:55 to go in the second. I wonder if Duke will foul. Will they go with the foul method, or will they just try to go for a steal and play it out? 19 points and 11 boards for Brazile's 5th career double-double. A very impressive performance by him. They're not fouling yet. 1:44 to go in the second. Still no foul from Duke. Now there's a turnover. Arkansas turns it over. Down the floor, Roach for 2. 74-65, 1:30 to go in the second. Bad turnover by the Razorbacks. Got to hold on to the ball. Call timeout. Make them foul you. Arkansas somehow gets out of the trap, and there's a foul on Duke. Arkansas will be going to the line. Khalif Battle will be shooting the free throws. He's had an excellent second half, especially shooting from the three-point line. Sports Talk with Austin says, speaking of Clemson, they are starting the season off good, and they finished strong in February and March when it counts because Clemson had some bad losses late in the season. I've noticed that as well, Austin. You're right. Like last year, Clemson had a pretty good start of the season. Weren't they like 18-4 at one point? And people were saying they should be ranked, but they didn't really play too many good teams. But then what happened? Down the stretch, Clemson kept losing to teams they should beat, and then they didn't even make the tournament. So they went to the NIT. Clemson should have been a tournament team, but they blew it down the stretch. So I agree with you, Austin. Even though they're starting out well now, they have to finish strong. Tennessee, a lot of other teams struggle down the stretch. You don't want to be a team like that. We'll see if Clemson can actually play good all the way throughout the season, make the tournament. Battle splits the free throws, missed the first, hit the second. So it's 75-65. But then Kyle Filipowski drains a triple. So it's 75-68, 1:11 to go. And even though it does look like Duke's going to fall short every single time that the Arkansas Razorbacks look like they have the game in the bag, Duke hits a shot. Duke does something to get them right back in it. 75-68, 1:11 to go in the second half. Duke's still in this thing. This is still a ball game. Arkansas is going to have to find a way to just continue to hit free throws. Because if they start missing some free throws, if they keep splitting them, because they've split a lot of these. Brazile split a pair. Battle split a pair. If they had to hit those, they'd be leading by more. That's why it's very important to hit both your free throws, and Arkansas is not doing that right now. And then they just allow Filipowski, who is one of the best bigs in college basketball, at knocking down the three. You left him relatively wide open. I know you don't want to foul like Khalif Battle did on the Jeremy Roach three, but they left him too open. Yes, Brazile's the player of the game with 19 points, 11 boards, but is that graphic too soon for ESPN? Game's not over yet. Although Arkansas has to do is hit free throws. If they get fouled, they don't turn it over, and they get fouled and they hit the free throws, they're going to be getting out of here with a win on their own floor as a 4-point underdog against a top 10 Duke Blue Devil team. Like I said, might not be enough to get Arkansas back in the top 25. This will be a huge resume building and confidence boosting win for the Razorbacks if they can get it. But they have to hold on. This is teachable moments for Eric Musselman's team. Ellis to blocker, back to Ellis. 1:05 to go in the second. Stuck in the backcourt. And, oh man, Duke, if they didn't touch the ball out of bounds, that would have been a 10-second violation. Duke bailed out Arkansas. Musselman's furious. He wants his team to close this game out, and they're not doing it. He just slapped the table. Now his hand's got to be hurting. He is mad. Oh, they did call a 10-second violation, so it is Duke basketball. I thought they were giving it back to Arkansas, but they didn't, and Filipowski scores 75-70. 5-point game, and almost another turnover, and they did turn it over. Duke with the ball. Oh, my goodness. And there's a foul on the floor. There is a foul on the floor. Duke's going to the line. Musselman, oh, man, he's going to lose his mind if Arkansas actually loses this game. If they blow this game, he's going to lose his mind. Filipowski with the score. Arkansas with another turnover. And now Duke down by 5. 46 seconds left. Musselman's face. They keep closing in on him. He is furious. And now you have the Blue Devils at the free throw line with a chance to cut this to a one-score game, and Roach misses the first. If Jeremy Roach had hit that free throw and hit the second, this could have been a one-possession game. Now the best Duke can do is get it to a 4-point game. That's a missed opportunity for the Blue Devils. Had to hit that shot. Roach is 21 points, 6 of 8 at the line. Hard to fault him, but he's got to hit that. He does hit the second. 75-71. Can Arkansas just inbound the ball without turning it over? They have not proven they can do that. They got the ball inbounds. Ellis has it. 25 seconds left. Now it's over to Khalif Battle. 22 seconds left, and Ellis gets the ball over the half-court line. That's what you got to do. You got to be aggressive, and he got a foul on Tyrese Proctor. Is Arkansas going to escape? I cannot believe Duke is putting this much pressure on Arkansas. The Razorbacks are a talented team, but they're not going to go far this season if this is how they handle late-game pressure situations. This has been abysmal. Duke is pressuring hard, but you got to do better than that. Ellis does hit the first free throw. That's what Arkansas has to do. Get the ball in bounds Hit your free throws. Get fouled. Do not turn it over. They've had 2 timeouts, but they haven't used any of them either. That's been a big issue for Arkansas here. Like, when they're in trouble, just call timeout. Put yourself in a better situation. But instead, they've thrown it away. But L. Ellis does hit both free throws. The Louisville transfer knocks him down. Arkansas up 6, 77-71. Duke still with a chance. Duke driving down the floor. Jeremy Roach with the ball. Inside. He misses the shot, and Filipowski scores. 77-73, 27 seconds left. Battle inbounds to Ellis. Ellis almost loses the ball, but he gets fouled. Man, he got lucky. L. Ellis tight roping down the sideline. Man, he got lucky. I thought they were going to call a turnover, but he was fouled. 24 seconds left. And if you're an Arkansas fan and really a Duke fan, you got to be on the edge of your seats. I'm on the edge of my seat just watching this game. This has been a very entertaining game. Appreciate all you guys for being here. This has been a blast. Jeremy Roach fouls out as well. I didn't even know he was in foul trouble. But Jeremy Roach has fouled out. That's a big development. He's been the main source of scoring lately for Duke. Besides Filipowski, Roach is gone. Now McCain and Proctor and Foster, those guards are going to have to take care of the backcourt with no Roach. And Ellis missed another free throw. Arkansas keeps missing them. If he hits this second one, it'll still be a 5-point game, but he could have extended it to 6. His second free throw is up, and it is good. It's 78-73. Duke with no timeouts. Arkansas with 2 timeouts. What is Duke going to do? 20 seconds left. Filipowski driving into the lane. He's fouled. Oh, man. Arkansas keeps fouling as well on the defensive end. They're doing everything wrong here. They keep fouling. They keep turning it over. They're missing free throws. Arkansas is not handling this late game pressure from Duke. And credit to Duke for not giving up. And that's a smart play by Filipowski because he knows we don't need a 3. Arkansas keeps missing free throws. We keep creeping back in this game just with 2. So that's a smart play by Filipowski, but he's got to hit these free throws. Roach and Filipowski with 46 points tonight. Obviously, Roach's night is done. He's fouled out. Rest of the team only with 27, and Filipowski hits the first. 78-74. Filipowski with 25 points, 6 of 7 at the charity stripe. He only had 3 points in the first. Arkansas shut him down, but he has 22 in the second. Make that 23. 78-75. 17 seconds left. It's a 1-score game. Battle to inbound to Devo Davis. Davis throws it up the floor, and I think they call it a foul on Duke. So if Arkansas hits these free throws, they're fine. But if they miss them both, or even one, they're still letting Duke creep closer and closer every time they miss a free throw. They got to hit these. Sports Talk with Austin's coaches always say don't foul on a three-point shooter or a jump shooter. You should never foul on a jump shot. I mean, I know sometimes they kick their legs out and sometimes the refs get the call wrong, but you just cannot put yourself in that situation to get fouled or to foul there. And then Devo Davis, an experienced player for Arkansas. He's only a 63% free throw shooter. He just missed the first. He only has 2 points tonight. What a collapse by Arkansas. He does, however, hit the second, but still Duke creeping closer and closer. Duke can go for another 2. Duke can go for another 2 and cut this to 2. And then if Arkansas splits again, Duke with the ball. Duke taking a 3. They missed. I wouldn't have taken that shot if I was Duke. Arkansas is going to survive. 5 seconds left in this game. Duke took the 3. I would not have taken the 3. They were down by 4. Duke should have gone into the lane, tried to score, maybe get fouled, hit the free throws. They would have cut it to 2. Arkansas split all these free throws, but Duke went for the 3. They missed, and Eric Musselman's team is going to survive at home. They're going to upset top 10 Duke. But man, Eric Musselman, he'd probably tell you that he had to sweat a lot harder than he should, probably put a couple of grays in his hairs, as he would probably tell you in the post-game presser, because he's been stressed out all game, and his team just missed another free throw. This is not sustainable. Arkansas has got to get better at this. This is unbelievable how many free throws they missed, how many turnovers they made, but the Razorbacks are still going to survive. 80-75 after Ball split the free throws. And again, that's why Duke should have gone for the 2, because then it would have been a 3-point game here. Then they could have gone for the 3. It's a turnover. Arkansas turns over Duke, and that's your ball game. The Razorbacks upset top 10 Duke at home at Bud-Walton Arena, 80-75. The Blue Devils are probably going to fall out of the top 10, you would think, for this loss. Arkansas don't know if they'll be ranked, but they don't care about that right now. They're storming the floor. Eric Musselman, what a job he's done with the Razorback program. They've had a rough start to the season. They're 5-3 right now. They've really struggled to shoot the basketball. They've struggled to take care of the ball. But tonight, even though all those issues still persisted, even though they were still turning it over, even though they were still making mistakes, and Tremont Mark was out with an injury, the Houston transfer was out with an injury, it did not matter. Arkansas got a big enough lead in the second half on the backs of Khalif Battle, hitting a lot of big shots, Trevon Brazile hitting a lot of big shots. And even though they missed tons of free throws down the stretch, like Sports Talk with Austin said a few minutes ago, you got to make your free throws, leaving the door wide open, and they definitely did leave the door wide open. But it didn't matter. Arkansas survived at home. The real MVP, thanks for being here. Darrell says, let's go Arkansas. Love to see Duke losing. When you're a blue blood program, like the Duke Blue Devils, people want to see them lose. They want to see the underdog win. Eric Musselman, he's all smiles right now in the post-game interview right here. He's all smiles, but he was not the entire game. He was furious all game long. He almost got a technical midway through the second half because they kept calling fouls on his team. He thought they were unfair calls. Some of them, there was a couple of bad calls. Definitely a couple of bad calls. Bruce Cowley, thanks for stopping by. He does not like the Blue Bloods. I can definitely tell you're not a fan of the Blue Bloods. Don't know if you're an Arkansas fan or just a fan of underdogs in general, but appreciate you for stopping by. This was a great game. I mean, the Tennessee-Carolina game was a good one, but Carolina led that game for the most part. And Tennessee kind of came back late. This game was very fun to watch. Duke was down a little bit there, in the second half by around double digits. But for the most part, this was a close and competitive basketball game. This was the game I was looking forward to more, just to see if Arkansas could get their season back on track. And it looks like they are. They've got a lot more work to do. But I think Arkansas has the potential still, with all the talent that they have, to be a really good team. And the ACC and the SEC tied at 7-7 in the ACC-SEC Challenge. I almost said Big Ten ACC Challenge. The Big Ten ACC Challenge is no more. It's gone. The Big 12 SEC Challenge is gone. The ACC-SEC Challenge is here, and it's here to stay. Both conferences exclusively on ESPN for the most part. That's why you got this challenge now. And the SEC has been improving in basketball. Last few years, they've gotten a lot better. The ACC, they're the basketball conference. Same with the Big 12 recently. But the SEC getting better in the conference, and with Arkansas's win over the Duke Blue Devils, they tied up the series 7-7 this year in the inaugural ACC-SEC Challenge. We'll see what happens next year in the challenge. Should be a lot of fun. But to answer your question earlier, Austin, I think that both conferences are good. I would say the SEC has more teams that could be dangerous. The ACC, they have a lot of teams that right now they look pretty good. Like Clemson beating Alabama, that was a big win. But how good will they be as it goes along? Will Alabama be better at the end of the season or Clemson? I would argue it's going to be Alabama. You talk about Arkansas. Yes, they beat Duke now, but Arkansas is going to get better. This team is going to get a lot better. The real MVP says, as a Kentucky fan, I always root against Duke. Yeah, because your basketball rivals, all the Blue Bloods, Duke, Kentucky, Kansas, Carolina, Indiana, all those teams not a fan of each other. Jackson Johnson says, what a big win for the Razorbacks. For sure, Jackson. I wasn't sure they were going to win. I thought it would be a really close game, but I knew they had a shot because Bud-Walton was going to be sold out, and it was one of the best home crowds in college basketball. They showed up and showed out. What a win for Arkansas. I had a feeling they had a chance, but that was very impressive. Randy Calhoun, thanks for being here, says, woo pig suey. You're going to be hearing those chants all night long in Fayetteville after that big win. Trey Sargent is not a fan of them, but a team no one is talking about is Oklahoma. Well, yeah, it's crazy with Oklahoma because remember last year how insanely good the Big 12 was? and Oklahoma beat Alabama. That was insane. It was an insane win. Grant Sherfield had like 35 points, the Nevada transfer, and Alabama lost when they were a top team with Brandon Miller. So Oklahoma, pretty good looking team maybe again this year, but in the rugged and tough Big 12, will they even be a tournament team? Maybe not, but they could be. But that conference is so many good teams, not everyone can get in. Somebody has to lose the games. Last year it was Oklahoma, but they were a good team. They were a very underrated team. Jack says, if you like hearing hot takes on college football, basketball, NFL, and NBA, follow me on Twitter. Definitely, Jackson, appreciate that. I tweet every single day about a variety of topics, so definitely check that out. Appreciate that, Jackson. He also says, if you love hearing hot takes on college football, basketball, NFL, and NBA, like, comment, subscribe to Only Talk Sports, and let's get him to 2,000 subs. I appreciate all you guys for being here. It's been a fantastic game, and appreciate that, Jackson. We're a little over 400 subs away from 2,000 subs. You guys have been amazing. Your support has been amazing. And with your support, we will get there eventually. It's been an awesome ride, and I cannot wait to do more college basketball streams in the future. I've done NBA streams in the past. I have not done any NFL or college football because those games are long. Maybe eventually, but they're just long. College basketball, NBA, they're shorter. I knew DeReal was going to ask this. He said, where was the Miami versus Kentucky stream? Man, I didn't have it in me yesterday. I thought about it, but the game wasn't even that close, though. And for some reason, DeReal, I try to pick the games that I think are going to be really close. And I had a feeling Kentucky was going to beat Miami. I didn't know about how much, but they kind of dominated there. Carolina, Tennessee, just wasn't really expecting that to be the game. This was the game. Arkansas, Duke, for some reason, I just felt like this was the game to do. I don't know. If I had it in me, I'd have done it yesterday. Plus, it was at 7 o'clock. It's easier for me to do the night games. It's just how my schedule works out. But, yeah, DeReal, definitely I'll be doing more Kentucky basketball this season. For sure. Trey Sargent says Big 12, though you can finish 7-11 and 6-12, make tournaments, Big 12 be best conference for basketball, especially adding Houston, Arizona. I agree. Houston, Arizona is just going to make that conference deadly. It's going to be so many good teams. And that's a big thing. One thing I don't like what people say is when they say you are what your record says you are. In college football, that's not the case. It's just not true. A 6-6 team in one conference is not as good as a 4-8 team in another conference because teams play different schedules. And the other thing is, and people used to say this a lot when I was younger, and obviously, the older I've gotten, paid attention to sports, understood that it's not the case. But people used to always say that if you were under 500 in your league, in your conference play, you should not make the tournament. And when I was younger, I was like, well, that makes sense because you're not a good team. That is not true because the Big 12, Oklahoma last year was a really good basketball team. Again, they beat Alabama, and they had a lot of good performances last year. But in that rugged conference, Oklahoma went like 6-12 or something like that in the conference. And the only reason they didn't get in because they had like a 17-14 or 16-15 record. I think they were 16-15. They were 16-15 and 6-12 in the league. If they had have been 17-14 or 18-13, they might have got it. But their record was too poor. But I do not agree that if you are below 500 in your league, that you should make the tournament. You should make the tournament if your schedule was hard. I mean, I've seen teams like there was a few years ago, NC State did not make the tournament when NC State was like 23-10. It's because they didn't play anybody. Their schedule was really easy, and that's why they didn't get in. And I understand, again, a lot of people just look at record, and I don't blame them, but that's just not how it works. You got to look at strength of schedule. You got to look at who you've beaten, who you've lost to. And I know that it's unfair for some teams because their schedule's not that hard, and their league wasn't that hard in that given year, but it's the way that it is. That one year, the ACC was very weak, and NC State did not get in. North Carolina won over 20 games last year, didn't make the tournament because North Carolina had only one quad one win, which for the committee is unacceptable. You got to have multiple quad one wins. I remember one year, Alabama with Colin Sexton went 18-15, and they made the tournament because they had like 6 quad one wins. So you have to have the wins. You got to have the resume. If your resume is poor, then you're basically just a glorified group of 5 or mid-major team in football and basketball respectively. You have to play hard teams. You got to beat good teams. If you're not playing hard teams, then the committee in football, when ranking you or, where you should belong, like bowl games, and then in basketball where like the tournament committee ranks, you're going to be ranked lower. And that's the way it is. Your schedule should be taken into account, not just your record. 100% agree. Darrell said, that didn't matter to me. I thought Kentucky versus Miami was the best game of the season. Go Cats, 39-1. Yeah, you're going with them being undefeated the rest of the way. I don't blame you, Darrell. Yeah, I definitely thought about doing the game, though. No lie. I thought about doing it. Like I said, it just didn't happen. I'm sorry about that, Darrell. But there's going to be a lot of big games this year. Can't wait to do more games. I've tried to do a stream a week. I think this is my third college basketball stream I did the Kentucky-Kansas game in the Champions Classic. Then I did Purdue-Gonzaga in the Maui. There were so many good games that week, but it was Thanksgiving week. Spending time with family and friends was just kind of difficult, to do any more games, especially as the week went along. But did that game, and now I've done this game. I've been doing a lot of football videos, getting all that stuff together for conference championship week, trying to do NFL coverage as well. So I've got a lot of videos coming out the rest of the week. Stay tuned for that. So I almost did not do this stream. I actually just set it up like an hour before. I was almost not going to do it. I was like, nah, I want to do this game. I had it in me. Knew you guys would support in the chat. You guys were awesome tonight. Made it a fantastic stream. Really appreciate it. Trey Sargent said, strength of schedule, my West Virginia team was 7-11 last year, 18-15 overall, but the fifth hardest schedule got in. Exactly. That's a great example. So they basically did the same thing as Alabama that year with Sexton. They had an 18-15 record. I think Alabama was like 8-12 in the conference. And people were like, they shouldn't have been in, but they had like 5 or 6 quad one wins. West Virginia had good wins, so they belonged in. A lot of people say that they shouldn't, but I think they do. I would have put West Virginia in over Carolina, even though Carolina's the brand team. Carolina with 1 quad 1 win, and then West Virginia, to your point, Trey, had 8 or 9 quad 1 wins and a quad 3 loss. Who deserved to be in? Carolina with 21 wins but only 1 quad 1 win, or West Virginia at 18-15 with 8 or 9 quad 1 wins? I believe West Virginia should have been in, because why have that hard schedule and you're playing all those tough teams and you don't get rewarded for it? I mean, again, it's not Carolina's fault that the ACC was down, but you just can't reward a team for playing a much easier schedule. So that's why West Virginia got in, North Carolina did not. I think it's totally fair. But this game tonight between Arkansas and Duke wrapped up the ACC SEC Challenge. Arkansas now 5-3, Duke 5-2. Duke's going to fall out of the top 10. I think Duke is a really good team. They really do. But going on the road, even though they got Filipowski, Mark Mitchell, Jeremy Roach, they got some experience. That's a tough environment in Bud-Walton Arena. Their fans were electric. Even Sam Pittman, Bobby Petrino were there. The new offensive coordinator, they're probably hoping that carries over to the football team next year, that they can start getting some more wins, get that team back on track. But Musselman's done a great job with the basketball program. It's been a rough start to the season, but they just got back on track with a big win over Duke, backed by that home crowd and backed by the play of Khalif Battle and Trevon Brazile. It was a fantastic game. But thanks, everyone, for being here. Like the stream down below. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Share the stream out on social media. You guys have been the best tonight. Fantastic support. It was a lot of fun doing this game. Glad that I decided to do it. I'll definitely be back soon for more basketball streams. Last comment from Trey says, could you imagine West Virginia this year with Hugs and Trey Mitchell, Joe Toussaint, Jose Perez adds his team along with the Hall of Fame coach? 100%. And that to your point, last thing off what you just said, Trey, I feel bad for West Virginia. I thought they were going to be really good. I talked about them all offseason. You probably remember my videos talking about the portal additions. And you brought up, I think, in the comment section, Jose Perez, because I didn't even include him at first. But, yeah, he was, on the roster. All these guys, Trey Mitchell obviously ended up leaving, going to Kentucky. That was a tough loss after Bob Huggins, obviously was let go. That was just a bad situation for West Virginia. And they're not going to be as good this year. It stinks. It really does, but it is what it is. Maybe they can still have some success, but they've had a rough start to the year, and I think they would have been really good with the team that Bob Huggins brought in, Jesse Edwards, all those guys. They could have been dangerous, but it is what it is, unfortunately, now that they don't have Huggins anymore. Jackson, the AC and SEC are tied at 7 the ACC SEC Challenge. Yes, both conferences did well. ACC was up 6-4, but the SEC closed late to tie it up in the inaugural edition of the ACC SEC Challenge. Very good for the SEC. Good look, especially since most people think of the ACC as the premier basketball conference. But SEC's gotten a lot better lately, and a huge win for Arkansas to cap off the night. But again, thanks everyone for being here. Again, like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you're new, share the stream out on social media. But again, you guys were the best. Thanks for being here tonight. It was an awesome game between Duke and Arkansas. What a win for the Razorbacks and Eric Musselman to get them back on track. But I'll be back for future streams soon. Cannot wait to do more games. Champy, thanks for stopping by. Can't wait till Arizona slaps Purdue, bear down. That's going to be a good game as well. Maybe, who knows, if I have time, I can do that game. But it's going to be a blast. Cannot wait for more college basketball games this year. It's going to be a fantastic season. Can't wait to be along for the ride. Thanks for being here, everybody. What a win for Arkansas.